time, I'll be getting my head smashed in with a bottle from a drunken guy on steroids.
Yeah.
My wife tells me I have ADD. You know what I say, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep,
Yeah.
Be more interesting.
Welcome to Three People Like This.
Welcome back to Three People Like This live on BeTerrific TV, on Twitch TV. And don't forget, we're on Apple TV, Roku, and streaming. I downloaded my Apple TV app, my BeTerrific Apple TV app, Paul.
Excellent.
You did it as well,
Well, I'm
right?
on Roku. But
You're
yeah,
on Roku.
Yeah, so
So are we. So what?
loving that.
So we
Loving
got
that.
there first.
Yeah.
Paul Zepeda.
Zapeta. Pleasure.
My friend Paul Zepeda is joining us today. He's an artist.
That's what they
Artists
say.
intimidate me a little bit because they're artists, in the sense that I have a problem drawing anything. I can't do a thumb. I can't do a stick man the right way.
You know, you say that, but I know that you're a comedic artist. So, you know, we all have our thing. And
Yes, I am.
you know,
Namaste.
we were
Thank you.
all born with
Thank you.
some
Namaste.
creativity,
Yeah.
some sort of a thing that we really do. And at some point, a lot of us get that sort of beaten out of us, told, oh no, you know, your stick figure looks not stick-like enough, or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you feel like, okay, I'm never gonna draw
I beat
again.
it
I'm never
out
gonna
of
paint
myself.
again.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna get, you know,
Yeah.
up on stage again. But I don't
So you
believe
saw
in all
my
that.
last performance then?
I saw I saw it. I didn't. That's not immediately what came to mind, but I know where you're going with this.
You know, yeah. Paul was at. We did Three People Like This live at Gotham Comedy Club, and it was a little. It got a little rough. For me, he thought it was
I had
fantastic.
a good time, yeah.
Some people may have been offended. Some of the subject matter may have touched on some sort of offensive triggers.
Maybe.
But let's talk about art.
Art.
Right now. Yeah, man, Paul, you and I met through Compass Needle. I say Compass Needle, and my friend Jenna Axelrod, who's a genius, makes fun of me because she goes, it's not Compass Needle. She goes, you become a Jewish mother when you say it. You say compass.
Hey.
It's compass, she says.
Compass
How do
needle.
you say it?
Compass needle.
Huh?
Compass needle.
Compass? I guess
I
that's
do
how
now,
you say
of course.
it. Right? Oh, but you said compass before?
I'm sure
Before I
I
pulled it
have,
up?
you know.
I wonder what the right pronunciation of compass.
Let's get somebody on the line with that.
You want to talk for an hour about how to say compass or compass?
I don't think that's necessary. I
Do
think
you
we've covered.
accommodate somebody or do you accommodate them?
I accommodate them.
Accommodate them,
Accommodate.
right? But then again, there's communication,
Communicate. Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
All right, so we met through Compass Needle.
Yeah. Compass needle. Yes.
Or we met through compassneedle.org. I'm going to say compass. I was telling you, I don't really like to talk about Trump too much, but it's on the top of my head, and until I get it out of my system, I got to say this. I read on the news that he said that if he was there when the shooter came into the school, that he would run in and stop him. And I just thought, okay, what? There's a guy shooting everybody. Don't worry. There's a lumpy 70-year-old billionaire lumbering down the hallway. He'll take care of it all momentarily. What is he gonna do?
Well,
Paul,
he may have been able to cover a few of the children.
He's
He's
got
got
the
the
trampoline
wide,
at the bottom of the building. With a jump on the, what are you? Shut up. Shut up. And he wants, I know, it's not even political, it's just, I just see him,
I
he's
know.
just like this big dolt.
It's an unfortunate waste of your mental energy.
I know, I'm
that
not
this
supposed
guy's
to do
putting
it.
you through this and putting us off.
And
of
that
this.
teachers should have guns. Well, how does
I'm from the South. You know, people have guns.
Yeah.
People carry guns, and you know, preachers carry guns down there. That's just the way it is.
Look,
but it's a fine line.
It's a whole conversation. My father is my father. If he wasn't 80 years old, he'd probably be the president of the NRA. He has an arsenal in his house, and so I grew up with guns. I went to high school in Arizona, and I used to have shotguns above my bed.
Yep,
I had a gun rack with a 22 and shotguns. Yeah, in the truck, chewed tobacco.
Gun rack in the truck.
You wouldn't guess it looking at me, but yeah, that's the truth. But I don't know if the answer is giving guns to teachers. Like, what's your qualifications?
I think they have more important things to deal with. On a daily
can you
basis.
work well with children? Yes. Do you have patience and able to guide people through difficult times in school? Yes. Can you shoot a guy in the skull when he's spraying the crowd with bullets? Sure, I can.
Tried and tested. Yeah.
And don't forget, children, there's an algorithm to this equation. Hold on. Freeze. All right. Anyway, I don't know where that came from. It's out of my system. Let's talk about you.
Get it out.
Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
Well, I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice. How was that?
That's what they told me. It was great. 505, out there in the desert. But I moved around a lot too. So I was all over Texas, from North Texas, like Amarillo and Wichita Falls.
Really?
Up
How
there.
many years did you spend in Albuquerque?
So it was like the first 7-ish years of my life, and then moved all around Texas and ended up graduating high school in Eastern Tennessee and going out to South Carolina and then coming back to New Mexico to finish up
wait a
school.
minute. Is New Mexico like you see it on Breaking Bad? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it just like these little enclaves of like neighborhoods and then just desert?
New Mexico itself, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it is, right?
It's towns or they call them pueblos, little villages and flat expanses of land,
Just
desert.
giant.
It's beautiful. Yeah, they call it the land of enchantment. There's all sorts of like electromagnetic activity from all the volcanoes and
really? I didn't know
geographic
that.
stuff. So it's
really?
New Mexico is a big place. So a lot of Breaking Bad was shot in Albuquerque, and then the sort of stuff that was out in the desert is out in the surrounding sort of flatland, like mostly Native American land, that kind of thing.
I mean, you could just drive, because I remember, when I was in Arizona, at any given moment, you were just 10 minutes away from a desert.
That's right.
10,
yep.
And
in any direction.
In any direction.
And that's the kind of thing that I did on Breaking Bad was I did locations for
you did
seasons
locations.
2 and 3.
Yeah, we'll
and so
get
we
to
would
that,
just we would get that and just drive out to the desert, find the spot, and that was it.
And that's it, right?
That was it.
It's so easy to shoot out there in New Mexico, right? You just drive
they make it
and find
fun,
the spot.
right? You can find magic,
Yeah.
You can find
not
magic
like New
easily.
York. It's not like work being a location. So you were a location manager or scout?
Well, I was a key assistant location manager.
Oh, okay.
So there was a manager, then me,
Yep.
and
you
we
guys used
did
to go
scouting as well. Yeah, so we would get the scripts before anybody else and read them. Be like, okay, we need a meth house with a tree in the front and this, that, and the other, and so we made it happen.
Yeah, you're the guy who leaves the notes on people's doors and saying, "We're looking to shoot something in your neighborhood, please."
Yeah, I had my tactics. Yeah.
Yeah.
But had to go get permits from the mayor's office, and and everything. Doing locations is like being the parent. It's the least respected part of the thing, but you gotta. get everybody fed on time, and a place to park.
Oh, really? Is that right?
Oh, yeah, we did everything. We got all the security.
I didn't know location was in charge of feeding people.
Absolutely.
Oh, so
I mean, we're the ones who hire catering.
Now that makes sense because you're in charge of the actual location.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have to get the permits for all the big trucks, the Teamsters, everybody to park, and we even make sure that there are porta potties out there in the middle of the desert, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's all on
that's
location.
right. You can't just. Oh, that's interesting. I
And
never really thought about that.
the least respected film industry job.
And then, did you work a long time in the industry, in the film industry?
Not so long. I've always been an artist. And I went back to school actually, to finish up school in New Mexico.
Right.
And got caught up in the film industry out there, and so I did that for a few years.
Sorry, Techno's on board, I guess. See, by the way,
hey, Techno.
We can say hi to people when
Hello.
they start chatting. If they start chatting, sometimes it takes people to get going, a couple minutes to get going, but they'll check.
We're just warming up here.
But yeah, so I don't want to lose track of my ADD riddled brain.
That's all right, but I mean, ADD takes us out to the middle of the desert, and we're doing that whole thing,
Yeah.
and so I did that for just a few years, and when I got the opportunity, I had a great run with Breaking Bad, and I was like, you know what? I've got my Breaking Bad money. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to go hit the East Coast and just continue my sort of artist journey, and that's exactly.
So you kind of wound back up in New Mexico working. How did you become a locations guy? How does that work? Yeah,
Crazy sheer luck. I met a crazy locations manager, and I had a reputation for being able to make some things happen in Albuquerque and the surrounding area, and
make some things happen.
Yeah.
What kind of things?
Well, I guess if you want to get into it, this is how I first got into the industry.
Now
I met a guy. I met a guy.
Paulie,
in
now
a bar.
we're talking over here, Paulie.
All right, there was a movie, Broken Lizard production called Beer Fest, and they were shooting out in Albuquerque.
Beer Fest.
Yeah, so they did like Super Troopers and some
Beer
movies
Fest
like
sounds
that.
familiar.
Yeah, you've seen it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious. That's right. It was I remember that.
Yeah, so there was
this is
sort
awesome.
of like a frat guy scenario kind of a thing, and I met a guy, and this guy said, "Hey, I need some women." I need some women to play St. Pauli's Girls, a particular type of women to play St. Pauli's Girls in a wet T-shirt contest.
A special, talented type of actress.
Right, exactly.
Who understands what the role requires.
Right, exactly.
And how did you know this person?
I didn't. But they heard that I was somebody who could find these people for them. So
I love
that
sentence.
So I said, okay.
Hold on, Paul. I have a feeling that I'm going to be... I'm minutes away becoming the second most offensive member of the Compass Needle family. Yes, I am.
We'll see. We'll see how much I unveil. I'm going to try to keep this strategic. I'm going to try to keep this strategic.
I'm going to peel back the layers.
But yeah, so I said.
So wait a minute.
I said, hey,
why did you have that reputation?
Because I did know people. I connect. That's what I do. I connect. All kinds of people, the highs, the lows, absolutely. The strip club, the judges,
Really?
everybody, everything in between. Because
was there a certain
everybody
aspect?
likes art. The art flows in between everything.
Yeah.
One way or the other. And so I've.
Is that true? Is it your artist brought you to all those people, or were you selling cocaine?
No, I mean, I would be cocaine would have been much more lucrative short term, but no, this was, but hey, at that time, if you needed cocaine, like
you knew the guy.
They knew where, I knew everybody. It's a small, big town.
You're a very likable guy, and you're a guy who people like
and
to
I'm
be
not afraid
around.
to talk to folks, so, in fact, I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to
Did you ever have a crazy day where you're like, you had breakfast with the mayor, and then you had lunch with a guy who just got out of jail, and then you went to the strip club owner at night, and then to the governor's night? You ever have one of the
governor's... the governor actually was a little early in the day, but yeah, other than that, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So that really did happen then.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Yeah, pretty much.
So these guys, they needed St. Pauli girls.
They need some St. Pauli style girls to be in a wet T-shirt contest.
Okay, now
and so I said, okay, so what's in it for me?
Are St. Pauli girls known for their acting skills?
Assets.
They're known for,
it's about the assets.
They're large-breasted gals.
Yeah, usually, that's what we're
contest.
looking for,
Yeah.
and the Edelweiss sort of dress, that kind of thing.
Okay, and
it was an Oktoberfest, Beer Fest.
How do you find a girl like that?
I said, hey, you want to be in the movie? What do they pay? Yep, they're paid. All right, done. They'll be there.
Is it because these guys just don't know girls because they're nerdy filmmakers?
When you're in the middle of it, you're busy, and I mean, casting was doing their job, and look, this guy was a locations guy. He wasn't supposed to be casting. I think he was going to be the winner when he came up with these beautiful St. Pauli's girls that they couldn't find the. It's like, I got the girls for you.
He was the man.
Sure, exactly. So
right,
he came to me.
So how did it go? Did you show up on set with these girls, and were you the hero?
No. Look, I did my part, and I let him take all the credit. But like I said, hey, what's in it for me? He's like, what do you want? I was like, I want to be in the movie. I had never done that before. I was like, I want to be in a movie. It's like, okay. So I introduced him to the ladies. That all came and went. And he said, okay, be here this night. You're going to be a European frat boy at a house party. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I just got to wander around, do whatever I wanted to do. I sort of tried to strategically place myself in front of the camera. I didn't know what was going on. I'd never done this stuff before.
Yeah. How old were you at that time?
Oh, probably 22.
Oh, wow.
Like that.
Did you get in any shots? Did you make the cut?
Yeah. If there's a scene and the house party gets broken up and this girl yells, cops, cops, cops. And on the third, and it's the camera zooming in, on the third cops, if you freeze frame it right on the third cops, you'll see me. I literally poke my head up and do this. Home Alone style. Did that whole thing, but you got to freeze frame it. But you will see me.
So if you watch the movie, it's Beer Fest. We don't know, is it early or late in the film?
It's sort of early to mid. Yeah,
it's during the
there's a house party, the cops break in. Yeah.
3 times.
And you pause it on the third one, you'll see me doing the Home Alone.
You know what that reminds me of? You ever listen to Howard Stern and he has Mr. Skin?
I don't know Mr. Skin. I listen to Howard, but
you listen to Howard. You never heard of Mr. Skin?
I don't.
Mr. Skin is simultaneously the creepiest and most wonderful person on the planet. He could tell you, I think it's Mr. Skin, right? Yeah, I think it's Mr. Skin. He could tell you, like, okay, you give him a name, say Demi Moore, and they'll say, 1997.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Exactly what finds important in the movie.
Scene number 3.
Moment? Yes, I do know this guy.
At 30 minutes and 42 seconds. Yeah.
Nip slip.
Nip slip. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm just. Don't mind me. I'm gonna go get on Twitch here so I can see the comments.
I know see some Twitch.
I missed
Twitch
a couple.
action.
I want to make sure I get all of them because, you know, we're interactive. This is the new world, Paul.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I mean, while you're looking that up,
live.
we're talking Twitch.
Yeah.
You know, people can also look at my website, wetpaintnyc.com.
Yeah,
I've got
go to
great
Wetpaint
art
NYC.
on there. I've got art,
Yes.
oil paintings that I've done. I've got a lot of great artists on there from around the world.
Awesome.
A lot of New York-based artists.
I know. We're gonna get to that. You know, I'm funny because I like to take my time. I do like to take my time. I want to get to know you a little bit, and I want.
Sure.
I mean, I want the people to know you, and then once we look at your art, they'll have a sense of the history of you know, who you are and where you came from.
Yeah,
and then it becomes.
If they, you know, hey, look, it's a multimedia world out there. So while people are listening and watching,
Right.
if they want to do a little scrolling, I do find it kind of interesting sometimes to, before people know me, check, you know, look at my work, form, you know, sort of get an idea and an opinion on that without knowing any of the backstory, because you know my whole thing is I keep it kind of abstract, and even though there's a story behind every single piece, I like people to sort of form their own opinion and see where that goes.
Yeah, well, that's my plan. I'm going to tell you, you know, I come into these interviews with very unprofessional, yet unprepared, but I like to live in the moment, and I feel like it's a little bit more organic.
Sure.
I'm not sure how entertaining it is, but it
find
seems to be
out.
okay. But the thing is that I plan on talking to you for a little bit, maybe spending the second part of what we're doing here. Maybe looking at some of the pieces.
You want to keep unpeeling that onion, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peeling that onion.
I'm going to peel it.
Uh-oh.
So, and then...
You might end up crying. You better be careful with you.
I would love for you to cry.
I said you.
Who, me?
If you get me to cry, then maybe we'll cry
if
together.
you bring
We'll
up the
see.
Super Bowl loss that the Steelers had to the Green Bay Packers, I might shed a tear or two. It stings a little bit. I seriously can't watch it. I'm a Steelers fan. I can't watch when they lost Super Bowl 30 or the other one with the Green Bay.
Still haunting.
I can't even say the number. The quarterback who was in that game that lost the game for us, he's not allowed to say his name in my household.
The name that shall not be spoken.
That's right. We shall never speak that name. Sometimes, just to be silly, my sons will scream his name out across the room, and I'll start chasing them.
Just to work you up.
Yep. So you get the girls. You're in the movie.
Sure.
And
yeah, it was just one night. I was just wandering around. I got my little paycheck from the casting company, and that
How much did they pay you at that time? 12
I
bucks?
want to say. I want to say probably $64 after taxes when it gets in the mail or something like that. You know, it was background work.
You were 20 years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing, you know, I'm pretty sure I had a little flask on me. And the funny thing is, it was the middle of winter, but they were shooting for summer. So they got all these college party girls in their little tiny skirts and heels and stuff. Meanwhile, they're freezing. You know, I figure I'm a European frat guy, so I'm gonna throw on a sweater. You know, I'm comfortable out there. It was fine. So I'm drinking, just wandering around. Yeah. And the thing is, the way that these Broken Lizard guys work, they're the actors and the directors and the star. So it literally was just like a big house party. We had the plastic cups and everything, and you know the bongs with the fake weed and all that stuff.
But was there beer there? Was there actual beer?
I don't think other people had actually. I think it was the non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
I think it was vodka at the time.
Yeah, you got it.
But you know, because I wasn't being professional, I was just there to see the scene and do the thing. I had already done my part. I made the St. Pauli's girl thing happen. But it was, you know, but that was fun. But so they came through, walking through, shooting it, directing while partying. So it was a very interesting. It wasn't this. You know, I've been on sets and stuff since, and it wasn't like that. It was just a big house with the people in the backyard partying, and
they did it
interesting. Yeah, like POV kind of thing.
So that's how you first were introduced.
First taste.
But you moved from you were younger. You went from New Mexico, and you wound up back in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. Where did you go from 7 to? Was you an Army brat?
A little bit. So the first move, my mom was activated for Desert Storm.
Oh, really? So your mother's in the military?
Yeah. So she's actually a retired colonel at this point in the reserves.
Oh, wow.
She's a physician and retired colonel.
Hello, Colonel. What's Colonel Mom?
Colonel Mom, MC Cepeda. Colonel and
I did 3 tours in Afghanistan, so I know what you've been through.
Excellent.
I mean, not really, but kinda. I know a guy who did 1 or 2.
Thankfully, we all know a guy, and that's why we're here safe and sound at the moment.
That's absolutely
thank
right,
goodness.
and I appreciate my service. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so that was the first.
You're just not even listening. I appreciated my own service.
I do. I appreciate your own service. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it, because everybody's got to do their part.
Humble. I try to really stay humble.
We do what we can.
You know,
somebody's got to do it.
I'm here if they need me, though. Let's be honest. So so she was a colonel.
Yeah. And so she wasn't at the time, but But so that's that's sort of where it started. So I ended up in Houston, and then we moved back.
Oh, wow.
And actually, my father died right at the point when I moved back, and then we sort of started a big, around Texas, and it was a tough thing. But
how old were you?
9. Had just turned 9. Man. And so that was a very interesting age. You know, you're figuring yourself out, finding things out. And so basically we just went on a really big adventure and moved all over Texas. And like I said,
how she responded?
Tennessee. I guess so, yeah, maybe so. I think
tough. That had to be tough for her, single mom.
Yeah.
Watching her son go through that's tough.
Yeah, son and daughter, have a younger sister as well. So
wow. How old is she?
She's like a year and a half younger than me. So we were about the same age, but but it's right at that age, 9, 8, 9.
It's so tough.
But she was like 7-ish, so she wasn't quite.
And then so I guess single, and wow, what an accomplishment! Single mom, colonel, physician.
She's amazing.
That sounds like
she's amazing.
And so you guys. So that spawned this era of your life.
Yeah, I think she was always sort of a searcher and learner, liking to try new things, and so it started with that, and I've sort of just carried that on since. Moved out of the house right as soon as I could at a high school, but moved just down the block just to have my own crazy artist place to sort of party and paint, doing the whole Warhol factory studio thing. People could just come by, bring by the booze, whatever. So this was in East Tennessee.
Okay.
And I moved.
That's what I wanted to ask you. How old were you when you put a pen on a paper and said, this feels right?
And like a crayon, or we're talking about painting and drawing here?
Right from a young age, did
young
you know?
Age, kid, yeah. I mean, I never thought of anything different. People. So my father was an attorney. My mom was a physician. So it was like, so what are you going to be when you grow up? A lawyer or a doctor? And it was always neither, because I saw how hard they worked and what they had to go through. I was like, look, I love what they do, appreciate what they do. I'm like, I got a lot of life to live. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I never thought of artist as profession. I just always was that.
Right.
I was always on drawing. I was always in class, doodling, whatever it was. making things, making my own Halloween costumes, that kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Might have to do a little bit with my mom being a little, conservative with the funds, but hey, creativity,
yeah.
Exactly, and that's a fun.
So you had to be
thing.
creative and make your own Halloween costumes.
Sure.
So did people compliment you from a young age? Like the adults, did they see it in you as well? And
And for the most part they encouraged it, and so that's and I think I just sort of lucked out, and also I think, always been a little bit sassy and stuff. So if people told me otherwise, I was like, I don't care what you think. That one part of that might be that my mom and dad were actually collectors. They, not big name collectors, but they would go to these small town art shows and stuff like that. And I sort of grew up under the table where they would have the wine and cheese and stuff, and the art gallery owners are trying to slip me cookies and Cokes and stuff to try to, get in good with my parents so that they'll hopefully buy art. And and they had very eclectic tastes and bought what they like. And so I never really thought about it, but I just sort of naturally learned or followed the natural way of things. It's like, hey, you like what you like. You know what you like. You don't need somebody to tell you, oh, well, this was done this way, blah, 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 blah. So maybe that helps enhance your knowledge and appreciation of a piece. But that's not going to, you shouldn't end up with a piece on a wall just because somebody told you to. Yeah, you should enjoy it.
I have always been astonished by the fact that people like you can start with nothing and then create these incredible works of art. Like even the idea of somebody that can draw a hand or a puppy or a flower or a foot or anything.
But what does it really mean to draw a puppy or a foot? Because you could do just a few circles and something and some stick play, and that looks. But people know that's a puppy,
But that's what I mean. If I drew a puppy, you would think it was a smashed pumpkin. You understand how bad I am?
Some puppies look like that. What do you know?
It would look like a pile of shoelaces. You would say that's a pile of shoelaces.
Well, maybe the problem is you should try drawing a pile of shoelaces and it'll look like a puppy. I mean, I don't know. So there's ways of figuring this out.
I like the way you think, man. So from a young age, you knew you had this thing, and it lives inside.
I never really
of you.
thought about it. Yeah, it was just part,
Thank you.
Good to know.
Very much. I appreciate that.
It was just something that was always in there. And but the funny thing is, my mom was always like, all right, well, that's wonderful. But you gotta have a backup plan. You gotta have a real job. The job. Hey,
mommy's
gotta
gonna
tell
say
me.
that.
That's all right.
Mommy's gonna be like,
Mom.
yeah. Mommy's gonna be
Thanks.
like, yeah, that's great, but let's get back to school.
Right. Exactly.
Did you go to school?
I did.
College?
Yeah. I did all that. I sort of took my time. I dropped in and out. And
but I was gonna say, in Tennessee, would you like so your formative years? I mean, first part of your life was New Mexico.
Yeah, very young, and then Texas.
Then Texas. What was it like living in Texas?
I moved around a lot, but I had fun. I was in Corpus Christi. That's where I first really got into, the fun partying side of things.
Yeah.
You're right down near Mexico, and you got the beach, and older brothers are always there to buy the booze and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. The beach.
I'm a big beach man. Love the beach.
Yeah.
So.
That West Coast, that New Mexico, Texas, I lived in Arizona, that whole area, very similar in the way they see the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of house parties, a lot of cake parties.
Sure.
And people's parents would go away for the weekend, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, remember, my mom was in the reserves.
Yeah.
So it was like a week or two out of it was like, hello.
So your house was the house,
we know there's
right? Yeah, I remember that, man. I remember, and because I came from Brooklyn, and Brooklyn Italians, they don't let their kids out of their sight for anything. And I remember moving out to Arizona, and the first thing I was astonished by was the way kids would talk back to their parents. Like what?
Because there was room to run. They could gun and run, but here there's no room to run.
That's why I used to tell people, I'm not white. I'm Italian. There's a difference. I could never tell my mother. The first time my friend went. His mother asked him to take out the garbage or something, and he's like, "Do I look like a effing slave?" And I remember my eyes popped open like, what?
You expected that was the end. He was over. He was done. No more teeth.
My mother would have. You ever seen the old cartoons where they just materialize a giant mallet?
Yeah.
My mother would have materialized the mallet and smashed my face in. Right. So that's the first thing in Arizona. The second thing was how parents would just be like, all right, you're 15, your sister's 8. We're gonna go to Spain for a week. We'll check
Well,
back
I mean,
with
that started well below 15, but yeah.
What I'm saying, it's like, and now it's a free-for-all. Now it's like, there's kegs of beer, and so I started drinking, and I'm sure you did. At a very,
I dabbled.
What year? I mean, drinking. We would have beers, and if anything that was available.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was sneaking stuff out of the liquor cabinet before, I don't even know when, but I mean, hey,
Yeah.
I was in Corpus Christi around 15, learner's permit, all that kind of thing, and it was keg parties and pool hopping was a thing out there where you would just go out to these like sort of they were kind of like old people, sort of like retirement condo complexes, the big ones, and you would just come with your boombox, CD player, whatever it is back then, and just jump,
LL Cool J,
whatever
Beastie
you
Boys.
had, the Beastie Boys.
Maybe I'm a little older
Bump
than
in the
you, but
booth.
all right.
No, hey, love the Beastie Boys. Did that whole thing, but
Did
just
that whole thing.
did the whole pool hopping, pool jumping thing is what I was talking about, and just carrying this thing, and they would kick you out. They'd be like, "Who are you here with?" Like, "Oh, my grandma lives up on the 7th floor, 7L." They're like, "We know the woman there. She has no grandkids, and she certainly wouldn't let you be doing this here." So we would just go to the next pool and the next pool. So that was what we
all right, so what happens is you're living this life, going to high school, doing your thing. So she says you got to go to college, right? You got to go to college.
I mean, she said you had to have something. So I guess it was. I mean, college was certainly encouraged. I'm sure that if I had become some sort of a crazy, computer, programmer, developed some sort of crazy thing, she'd be like, all right, that's fine. As long as you have something stable that you're doing,
Okay.
that's fine. But I did end up going to college.
Where'd you go?
So I followed that route. A few different places. I like to try different things. So I started out at a community college, and then bounced around to a couple different universities. I ended up at College of Charleston in South Carolina. I wanted to switch some things up, and I was actually I had planned to go be like a crazy artist, going to college by day and sort of like painting on the streets of New Orleans at night. And so I went down to look at the school there, but on the way out there, somebody's like, "You got to check out Charleston." So I made a stop.
Hold on. What do you mean painting on the streets of New Orleans at night? What does that mean?
Painting on the streets of New Orleans at night. So I was going to go to school by day and then, hustle paintings,
That
to
was your
tourists
idea.
or whatever. That was my crazy idea.
So you wanted to be one of those guys like in Times Squares?
I guess. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I'd never even been to New York before. So I wasn't thinking the Times Square thing. But essentially, it would be a guy, like live painting, have a few of my other things packed up under my arm.
Similar,
be like, hey, tourists, give me money.
Oh, that's great.
That kind of
so
thing.
You were a little bit of a trailblazer. You were going to be.
I mean, I was always trying to find a market for the work. I was always painting. It was just stacking up, stacking up. So that was the idea. But I ended up spending a day or two in Charleston, actually at Folly Beach, and just doing that thing, and then driving back across the country to New Orleans and being like, holy shit, like, after coming from the peaceful, tranquil beach, and I know they have a college there, to this sort of real cutthroat, like, raw, dirty. It's like, maybe I don't want that right now. Maybe I'll do this for a while and see where this takes me.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did because, fell in love with Charleston, the food, all the different types of beaches, the people there, met some great collectors, that kind of thing. And that actually is what, in the long run, allowed me to jump to New York.
So did you start?
That's several moves later.
Were you always a guy who was? So at what age did you start like really? Do you call it a piece? Like, what do you call it when you just start with a blank canvas? What is an
painting,
artist?
drawing. A piece, a painting,
what do you call
work. It's all interchangeable. So if I've been saying a painting too much, you throw in piece, you throw in artwork.
Right. Technoblaze says, Paul, what is your painting style? What do you,
it's a mixture. So it's hard for the contemporary painter really to define their style. I'll let you make your own decisions on that one. But I'm self-taught, and it's abstract, and it's a combination. Think like Picasso meets Matisse meets Modigliani with a sort of a modern spin.
I have no idea what that means.
They know what I'm talking about.
But again, what's the website? Well, wet paint.
Yeah, wetpaintnyc.com.
Laptop shut off here. I don't know. We lost something. I don't know what happened. There's a lot going on.
WetPaintNYC.com.
Oh, you know how to work that. That's very
Yeah.
good.
Well, I'm taking a guess here. We'll see. Yeah, here we go. But if you, so check that out. And I'm the first one on there.
Thank you for that, Techno. We're going to pop up some of the.
And let me know what you think about it.
Yes. So yeah, that's the thing. Style. I guess what happens is.
People style.
Looking for you. How do we get in here? I guess it's looking for your face, Michael. Oh no, there he is, Michael Artsis.
Hello. We're gonna need a passcode.
It's facial recognition. Is that what's happening? We're trying to get into the laptop,
Let's see.
but
Maybe
it's
I can
locked by his
fake
facial.
maybe if I do this, I can fake the bald thing and it'll let me in. It's like a fingerprint. No,
Very
didn't
good.
work. Didn't work.
Very good. Yeah, we'll get in there.
Yeah, but
So that's what I mean.
you know, bold colors
At
and that
what
kind of
age
thing.
did you say, all right, I'm going to start with a blank canvas and?
At the same age that everybody else did. You start with a piece of scrap paper or whatever it is.
So it doesn't.
And
there's no technical.
yeah,
right,
you know, I know a lot of people that became an artist. You know, they were working in, say, finance or doing some other thing. You know, whatever it may be, and then.
Hey, Michael Artsis is joining us.
You don't actually need my face.
Mike, should I button the shirt? What do you think? Maybe I should button it for a little bit, change the style up a little.
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
What do you
man.
think? You're excited about me
I think
buttoning?
you should look at the chat. They've
I
had some
did.
funny comments. We gotta shrink it down a little.
Yeah, I can't see it.
I know.
I can't
We're
see it.
working on that.
It's unprofessional. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that
Something's
is.
happening.
You look
Now look at
better.
this.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if I like this.
You know what you could
unbutton.
do? See, out in New Mexico, we were talking about that
Right, that's
Southwest thing.
better.
If you do just the top button,
Oh,
and you leave that, then
then
that's
the
a whole
cholo.
look out there. Exactly.
cholo.
You know the cholo.
Yo, S.A. Let me see your
Vato
paintings,
cholo.
eh?
Hey.
All right, let me see what we got
Southwest
here.
style.
Well, let's do it. Since,
how are we
since
doing
he
this?
unlocked it, and you know, since he did that.
Can we feed this to the
Yeah,
viewers?
Rory, can we get this up?
Oh, here we go.
See this here?
So look, so Wet Paint NYC.
Yeah.
So this is something I started about a year ago. Basically, as a way for people to have access to both my work and the work of other artists at a variety of price points. Because you know, when you're doing this thing,
So loud.
it-
I just swallowed coffee right into my microphone.
when you're doing these
Good morning, Ownerd.
So look, so here's
Hold on.
some of the different artists.
Ownerd, I want you to know Paul Zepeda is here with us. He's an artist. He's a genius. He's incredible. And we're going to look
Good
at some of
morning.
his work right now.
Yeah, these are some of the other artists on the site, but here's
So
a
this
quick
is
look
Wet,
at mine.
Wet Paint NYC. Is you started this website and it's a collective?
Yeah, it's a collective. Yeah, basically it's highly curated artworks by artists that I believe in. Basically.
Highly curated.
Yeah,
means-
so basically not every single piece that they've ever created is on there. You know, I go through, they show me a lot of work, and I pick, you know, the stuff that I think would have a, you know, sort of a wide fan base that you could appeal to a lot of people, or even a small amount of people, but like a certain niche of people that like specific
sure.
things. So there's a variety on there.
That's interesting.
And that was one thing when I was always because I always had to push my own work, you know. But I realized that not everybody has the same tastes and styles, and also that some of my collectors might want to switch it up a little bit too and have something a little different. And that's the beauty, you know, getting back to compass needle of, you know, you can benefit yourself by sharing, you know, just by sharing other people's
No better
love, you
example
know what I
of
mean?
compass needle than this right here. And by the way, see, I'm saying compass instead of compass. Technoblaze says that is pretty amazing, Paul.
Ah, well, I appreciate that.
Technoblaze.
Yeah, you know, it's sort of a work in progress, but we've, you know, we've got the YouTube channel where you can see sort of the art, you know, the creation of a piece, like you were talking about, from a blank canvas to
really?
the
So it's
finished
Wet
thing.
Paint NYC YouTube channel.
Yeah, so it's Wet Paint NYC 1 on YouTube,
Okay.
or just Google Wet Paint NYC. You know,
Maybe we'll see a little bit of it, but for
Yeah.
now, can you do me a favor? So let's start with you. First of all, how do you get the other artists? Are they friends of yours? Are they people that you admire?
basically, yeah. So it's we've crossed paths at some point in some way.
in the art world.
Yeah, or elsewhere. You know, it just, you know, out in the real world. You know, wherever it may be, and
Okay.
and you know, and now I do meet tons of artists, but some, you know, some don't want to work with other people. Some are too much of a headache to work with other people. Some are more ego than
Yeah,
talent.
sure.
And
Yeah.
and you know, and the main thing is, you know, this is about Wet Paint NYC is about connecting. This is about connecting both the creatives and the people who want to enjoy that and get, you know, and whether it's seasoned collectors or people who've never owned a piece in their life. And that's why we have the originals on there. And then we also have really affordable, high-quality reproductions.
Oh, so you have the
on
originals.
paper. Yeah, the originals.
Can
is
you
where it
show me some
starts.
of the stuff, some of the pieces that you did yourself that mean a lot to you?
So these are all mine right here. We can start with, so here's a New York inspired piece, and this has a little a variety of some of my media on there. So this is a mixed media piece. Okay, see, it walks you through. You'll see, start here. You can customize your thing.
So what do you mean? So you could start there by what?
So actually it walks through the process. So this right now we're looking at. You can order a print of this piece. So the original was an oil painting. That's oil right there, and then there's some silver leaf and gold leaf, and this is all on a canvas originally. And then this was scanned, and now, like I said, it'll just walk you through the process. But you can choose to have it on stretched canvas or acrylic, or let's say fine art paper. And then you can choose your size. Okay, so let's say we want to go kind of big, 23 by 29. Then you choose your style, like do you want it framed, or what do you want to do with it? So let's get a frame on there. And then you pick your frame. And now, with the, of course, price goes up with framing options and all that stuff, but it's still, reasonably affordable as far as art stuff goes.
I mean, without question.
And look at this. And then the one thing I really love about this is once you get your frame and your size and stuff, you can choose the wall. So you can see it on the wall, like to scale, what size it is, and
You built this website?
I didn't myself, but the thing about doing this kind of thing is,
but it's
is
your
knowing your
website.
limitations and finding the people who know what they're
Yeah, you got
doing.
somebody to help you, but that's a really good idea. So now they
you
can
can
see.
even change the color of the wall. So if you got green walls and you want to see this,
Wow.
I know you're a big time businessman, so you got the conference room.
Is that what they say?
Yeah,
I need
that's
that for my
that's the word on the
conference
street.
room. I have that conference room. There's nobody in it ever but me, but I
Yeah,
want
but
me
see,
in that photo
you
with
and
it.
Lady Liberty, right?
And a bunch of phones on speaker, like I'm talking to everybody.
And that's all
that
just
is,
fed back to you. So that's I don't know. So I'm having fun with this.
That's really cool.
Introducing people to, and here's a different one. So this is another media I work in. So this is actually rust on canvas.
Okay, so what do you mean rust? Is it
Rust, just
real-
like your
real-
rusty, rust bucket truck or whatever it may be. So I start with iron paint on the canvas. So it's like iron filings in a solution, and then I put different chemicals on it for different amounts of time and all sorts of environmental variables to create genuine rust crystals, and that's how you get these like yellows and oranges and stuff that you see. Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, look at that. So that's.
It's a chemical process. Yeah.
And it creates rust.
Yeah, and I do the same thing.
And different. Wow, look at that flag. That is. I like that piece, man. All right, let's see what that is. What's the best way to frame this bad boy?
So, yeah. So let's see. So you can get it on. So you can get it on stretch canvas, and some of the options there are floater frames. So that's pretty cool. So in this color, you can't tell so much, but it's sort of floating.
Wow, that's
I'll
cool.
change the color, and you can see.
Yeah,
so
I would
it's
go
sort
for
of
that,
suspended there. No, that's a great way to do that.
That's a good one. I would like that one.
Yeah.
Maybe I should give you my credit card. We can order that for me right now.
Yeah, feel free.
Put that somewhere.
Yeah.
Ownerd, I think it was, said, are you trying to eliminate the gallery experience?
Not completely. I'm not trying to eliminate anything, but this is just one part of it, because we do live gallery, physical gallery shows as well, and we also do studio visits. So the physical side of art is a big thing, but some people, number one, don't like the gallery experience. They feel put off by it. Some people want to shop in their underwear, and they can do that right here.
I think this is complementary to the gallery experience.
Absolutely.
I mean, galleries, you can miss a show, things can pop up, you have to cancel,
Right.
life gets busy, or you're not located close to there's a gallery in New York City, you live in Texas, or you live across the country and you want to see and buy some of these. Wow, somebody said poolside black and white is fantastic.
So I thought I'd
Thank
pull
you,
it up.
Techno.
Here's what we're looking at.
Techno, what do you like about it? What strikes you about that above and beyond the others? And also, how do you... I'm so fascinated by the thought process, like how your brain is functioning while you're doing that. What are you thinking? Or are you thinking?
A lot of things, and the truth is...
Can you keep it on that for a second?
Yeah,
Can you
absolutely.
go back
sure,
to that?
Sure. I was going to pull up some variations on that same theme.
Oh, on the same theme.
Yeah,
Well, let's look at that poolside.
Let's see.
A VR gallery. Have you
See,
given any
here's
thoughts to a
another
VR gallery?
Here's a little. So let me.
Yeah, talk to me.
Full VR.
Yeah,
We'd
let
love
me-
to look. Here's another variation on that same poolside. So these are sort of like these are like series. So the variations on series. This one happens to have a little
series of what?
Yeah,
the
so
lines
series
are
like so like
similar?
one. Yeah, so it's not for me. It's not a specifically thought out process, but it's like one sort of general theme or idea, which is my poolside figures in this case, where it's basically female figure, usually a little rounder in form, sort of sitting with like one foot sort of dipped, or sometimes one toe dipped into the pool, sort of various positioning, that kind of thing.
Read that.
Grayscale, yeah, that's another thing that's a little different about this is usually I do a lot of bold,
Yeah.
bright colors and a
Techno
gold
Blaze
leaf,
said, "I
and
love
this is
the-
the gray scale.
See, the sharp lines in muted blue and gray color scale. I'm learning. That is exactly what I'm looking at.
Yeah, exactly. See,
It's a
now you can
muted
put it into words.
Blue and gray color scale. I'm going to write that down on my hand and go to an art gallery
That's
and stand
right.
next to
They're
somebody
gonna love you.
and say, I like the muted gray, blue lines, colors, scales.
Now here's another one similar to that last black and white. That's now we've got color and gold
Oh, it's
leaf.
similar to the other
Yeah,
one.
so it's just a variation. Changing up the form a little bit, adding a little different plant styles, and here's sort of the genesis of this series was these guys right here. These.
Look at that. Look at that.
I love hookah. You know, hookahs. It's an enjoyable thing. So this is one of the original first poolside, and this is poolside with 22 karat goldfish, and yes, those were leafed with 22 karat gold.
Is that something you do a lot? Do a lot of people do it, or is that just something you like to do? You
know,
actually
it's-
include gold.
Yeah. So people have done it for a long time, as you know, in like in like sort of the book world and all the ancient manuscripts and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just sort of reviving that.
So that's not uncommon to see gold leaf in different paintings, and artists will
I think
use
in
it.
general it's uncommon, but there are other folks.
There are other folks that do it. And now there's other artists on here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to talk about some of the other guys?
Yeah.
See, I
so
want to.
These are all.
This is what I
they
want to
all
ask
have
you.
their
Before-
own
let's go back to
specific
one of
style, which
yours.
is
Let's go
great.
back to one of
Yeah,
yours
yeah.
for a second. Okay. All right.
There's a little New York inspiration.
Take me
here.
through this for a second. So
Yeah.
you wake up and you want to sit down and start painting. Is there a feeling that comes over you, or do you
Yes.
force it?
Well,
You-
every
you-
morning I wake up and I'm kind of freaking out until I get everything done so that I can get to that easel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's a
all the
constant
rest
drive.
of this is a bunch of BS that I'm trying to get through to get to the painting.
Yes.
So, but that's life, and
That's like
it's a
me
much
with
needed
chocolate
thing.
ice cream.
Yeah, exactly, and I know that
Yeah.
feeling. It's the exact
So,
same.
so in other
feeling.
words, you can't wait to get to this thing every single day.
Yep.
And it's almost like you have to purge your system of art because it's in there.
You know, it's-
maybe that's the
and-
wrong way to put it, but you have to eliminate that drive. You have to.
Well, I
that-
gotta make some. I gotta get something on. I gotta get it done. Because the thing is, it's not that I sit and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start. The whole night. It's already been in my head. Okay, I'm already pre-painting it. It's already happening in my head. All this stuff's happening.
Like that. Do you remember when you did that?
Yeah.
What was the first thing you did? What do you do? What's the first line?
The first one was a swipe down the middle to form the body. I knew. This is another
mean a
variation.
swipe?
Of,
Is it the
this
white
line right
paint?
there? That
so
black
that
line.
black line right there is the first thing you do.
Yeah,
Whack.
pretty much. Yeah, and then I threw the head. So basically, I was outlining the body and basically getting the general, just quick lines of
See,
this,
you know what's-
this, and this, and then I can fill it in from there.
But what's cool to me is that, do you have the depth of the painting in mind when you're doing it? Like, see how this, right here, the floor.
Yeah, well, I mean that's
And the
that's
depth.
technique. So that's a perspective thing.
And you have
just a
that-
few quick lines can create that perspective.
You have to know.
depth.
I mean, but that, obviously that's experience, but that comes from your brain. That's the type of stuff that I can't believe people can do. Like it's such a miracle to me of the human brain.
A lot of that though is just practice or trying it for the first time, because it's not even that's necessarily that difficult. It's just like, oh wait, I can do that.
I know,
and then once
but-
you do it once, it's kind of like riding a bike,
Did you know that this person was going to have that red hat?
Yes, because this is another variation of a theme, which is sort of an autobiographical theme, which is the artist in the studio. So it's usually the artist by himself, because a painting is a very, it's a solo operation for the most part.
It's a very personal thing.
Yeah, and you're usually not around a lot of other people, so you're spending hours and hours alone inside your own head, doing that whole thing. And so this is sort of a self-portrait here.
Yeah. This is you. This is
the artist.
This is
in
the
general.
artist in
Yes.
general.
And so this is a special type of copper leaf that was treated chemically to give this sort of pattern on there.
And you sell the original?
I did.
You
Actually,
sold it.
this was purchased by Middle Eastern royalty.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this one
Did you charge
and a
them
bunch
quadruple?
Nope. Everybody gets charged the same.
No,
fair,
bad move.
easy price.
Too much of an artist. You got
But
to talk to me about this stuff.
I didn't discount him, but I did. He paid full price, which I was more than thrilled to do. It keeps the market stable. It keeps the market going.
But you know they buy humans, right? They buy people over there.
I don't think this guy does.
I'm sure he does. That's why you got to charge him quadruple. Like, if that guy comes back, let me
It's from
talk
one
to
of the
him.
friendly countries over there, I promise.
Yeah, the friendly
But-
ones buy people.
But, and I'm
evil
not
ones,
arguing that fact. It
it's
may be
what
very true.
They all buy people.
It's
what they do with them after they have the
bought,
people.
They bought
TJ
a
Ross.
bunch of pieces of me.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, a bunch of pieces of me.
Believe me.
Jenny says I'm TJ
But it allowed me to
Ross.
go to Europe for the first time. So that was nice.
I am the bizarro world Bob Ross. I am just special needs with a brush, is how I would describe my
Well, I would
style.
love to see that, and you know what? There are people who collect that. So that's the crazy thing about this is it takes all
30
kinds, all tastes.
Yeah, there's
are out there.
35 million jokes in my head about that, but I can't. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's too easy. All right, so let's go back. So that's what I mean. So you sit down, and this is your first boom right
Yeah,
here.
in that case, yeah. So I basically sort of
Boom,
outlined
boom.
the forms, the general outlines of the forms, and then I can fill it in from
But
there.
it's so cool to me the way you take a triangle and some lines, and it's a person.
And you know what it is, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's what we were talking about, puppies and spaghetti laces and all that. It's like,
Yeah.
look, if you, the mind works a certain way that if you get some general shapes down, people will get what you're getting at.
Yeah, but the idea
and
that
you don't
you know
necessarily
that.
impose, and you don't necessarily impose the way that you think people are supposed to look
Right.
on the other person. They
Right.
get to put everything in their own mind into that.
Right.
You know, that person could be white, that person could be black, that person could be blue. It's abstract.
You
and
know,
that's the
this
idea.
is a problem because if you leave me alone with this, I'm going to buy all of it. I'm going to buy all of your stuff, and my wife is going to say, look, for 40-something years, you had one thing on the wall. It says family, and it's a picture of me and my kids and us on on vacation. Now, all of the walls are covered
That's right.
with art.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'm going to leave you alone with the computer, and if you put in the promo code 3PLT at
3P
checkout, you're going to get a discount.
3PLT at checkout. The code 3PLT at checkout. I love that you did this, man.
So I don't know if you meant to click on this, but this is the
artists.
stories behind some of the artists.
Yeah, who's that? Ellen Frank.
Yeah, Ellen Frank.
PhD.
Yeah, I mean, there's some real heavy hitters in here.
Who's that?
So this is a lovely scholar and artist who created a foundation to use art to go to sort of warring nations and sort of bring those communities together through art, through the creative process. So she's gone around to
That's
these, heavily hit things and brought usually the youth, because the youth usually you can get to them. They're not caught up in all the old BS.
Yeah.
It's so she brings these sort of
I
warring
love
factions
that,
together.
man.
They
I love
create
it.
these giant paintings
Look at
out
her.
of gold leaf and all the other good stuff.
Look
so,
at her.
So it's a
See,
beautiful
people
thing.
like that make me feel like.
And look at these credentials
She
here.
kind of
Come
ruins
on.
my day a little bit, though. Because
It makes you want to work a little harder,
well,
maybe? Is that what
I
it is?
brought in coffee for everybody and thought I really did a great thing.
Hey, look, it's
And she's
increments.
saving people
we
with
start
art.
somewhere.
Yeah, I'll get to the warring nations. I'll just show up in Afghanistan with a couple of boxes of Joe from Dunkin' Donuts.
And maybe,
Like, hey, man.
but maybe that's all that they needed that day.
Yeah, let's
Wake
just
up
get
a
along.
little. Wake up to reality.
Yeah.
So look at this. So this is another great guy, Mike Serafino. So look at, he's actually using a blowtorch in this picture to create these patterns on the canvas.
Oh, wow.
So he has a
blowtorch.
special so he has a special technique that he's been developing where he puts
Maniac.
water on the canvas in a special
Yeah.
way, kind of
He's
like
a psychopath.
Yeah, he's an amazing science guy is what he is. But so to see him in action is amazing.
Techno Blaze said, sorry, I had to call into a meeting, wanted to talk about the VR gallery. Are you thinking about doing a VR gallery?
So full VR with the glasses. I'm looking for the right folks to hook that up. But absolutely,
Mr. Artsis,
you contact me.
We need VR gallery implemented.
Wet paint contact at
I'm telling you,
gmail.com.
If he wasn't so busy and such a beast of content,
I
would actually ask Mike to maybe help you work on because these guys can do it.
That'd be amazing. I've got a little something. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's more like a video game that you can walk through, but it's not the full VR experience. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Yeah.
Yeah, look at this guy. He's a psychopath.
He's an amazing psychopath with the paint and because I got to show you something with this. Look at this guy. Okay, so look, he's burning shit right here, but look at this.
Michael, we just coined you. We just determined
an amazing
that you're
psychopath. But look at this. Look what he did with the burns. His psycho mind did this. This is all space related. This is the friggin'. So this is oil paint, almost photorealistic oil paint with the burns to create this universe effect. There we go. Look at that. Look at this.
Come on, man.
Boom. So this is a combination of burning and painting, and he had to put it on the line where he started the painting, and then he put that painting on the line by putting fire on it, and it could have gone up in flames, So it's
what do you do it on?
Canvas.
You do that on canvas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it gets to the point where some of it's so thin you can see right through. But he has a special technique that he's developed.
So he maybe started right here.
He started probably painting, and then he would add water and burn it. That's the effect from the burn.
Oh,
that's from water and fire hitting this thing and creating a natural effect. And the same thing with this. But it looks, it looks like you're looking at the universe, and that's the whole thing that he realizes that the macrocosm and the microcosm are all the same thing. It's all little swirling dots of things.
I just, for about 30 seconds, felt like one of those people I make fun of in an art gallery.
Yeah.
I was just lost in this.
That's what we do. We get you sucked in.
I'm lost.
We take the pretense out and bring even union guys can enjoy that. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Teamsters. We can love it. They all love it. But look, then here's a view of Fidei from the Brooklyn Bridge. This is the same guy.
Yeah.
He painted that live at the time, right there,
what do you
on the
mean?
spot.
So
he went down there with his easel. This is Mike Serafino, and popped up his easel and just stood there and painted this from there on the spot and left when it was done.
How long does that take?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, he was there for hours and hours.
And this is just
out in the cold.
This is just regular paint. This is no burning.
This is oil paint. No burning on this one. And now this is watercolor Zen ink. What
does that mean?
So I don't. That's what I call it. But
oh no, I'm getting civilized.
So he takes.
Starting to get the chills.
So
I feel my DNA evolving. I don't like this.
A tie sprouting from the.
Yeah. Something's happening here.
So with this, he took a piece of paper, watercolor paper, which is sort of porous paper, and before he even put the ink down, he drew invisibly, basically with water. Then he takes ink on a brush and drops it on there. And it spreads through the water to create these blending patterns.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, so kind of like tie-dye effect kind of thing. But it's a very difficult thing to do.
Are there videos of you guys of him doing this? And
yes, yeah.
Maybe we could play a couple in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
Matter of fact,
stuff.
Can we watch a video of him doing the burning thing? Maybe in a different tab. Go to YouTube.
I might have to look that up. I don't know that we have that up on the thing, but I'll pull something up on YouTube for you.
Yeah, let's get something on YouTube here. Hey, there's us.
Hey, live and in effect.
Oh man, I'm missing a lot of chat.
All right, while I'm looking this up, why don't you chat with some folks?
All right. First of all, I missed a lot of chat. I'm going to open up my Twitch app because I'm very savvy with this. Very savvy. I love the free flow. Okay. Techno says I love the free flow, unscripted nature of this interview style. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And then somebody said, but I thought this was supposed to be a comedy show, and this is not really funny. Who is? I can't see the name. Epic something. All right, listen.
Get up and do a little dance for him.
Epidural, Epicurus. I can't. I'm going blind, so I can't read your name. Yeah, let me explain this for a second. So, Three People Like This is a comedy podcast. Paul has seen us and knows us, and it's four people. It's me, Bruno Derlin, Mike Ricca, and Afrim Jambalai. And we have a top 10 podcast on iTunes. If you look us up on iTunes, Three People Like This, or go to threepeoplelikethis.com, you'll hear the podcast, and that podcast has another podcast that's a sister podcast called the Three People Like This Interviews. So we worked with Mike and the boys in the past a lot of times, and we partnered up recently with BeTerrific, and so what we're gonna do is, as part of the Three People Like This show, we're gonna do the comedy show, and then some days we're gonna have people in to talk for the interviews. It's really what brought us to where we are today. We're you know, both the interview show and the Three People Like This comedy show are in the top 10, 20, 30 of iTunes all the time. And because we're in New York City, and because we have so many fans and friends and people that are creative, we get them into interview, and we do this because I'm just curious about everything, and especially artistic, creative people like my man Paul.
And we can get back to some crazy stories too.
We can do
so
stories.
we'll touch tomorrow. We'll do some crazy stories.
I understand. Somebody said the thing is that
I get it.
you know, it's people's instinct. Like I mean, 10, 15 years ago, I might have got, you know, defensive about that. But the truth is, it's a legitimate question. We're known for comedy, but we bring so much more to the table, I think, and that's why we're here.
It's a big life we're living.
Yeah, there's a lot to be involved, you know. If there's nothing funny to say, don't say it, because it's going to sound like you're trying to be funny when there's nothing funny to say. I learned that a long time ago.
We're not forcing anything here. We're just rolling with it.
Got to be organic. So, hold on. Let me just check, guys. Rory, are we going to hear the sound on this if we play the video? Because I want to play the video, but I don't know if the sound is necessary because you're going to see the style.
It's not necessary. Yeah. Either way, whatever you guys want to do.
All right. So listen, let's press play and
here we go. So basically, what this is here, this is telling a little bit of a story and showing the creation process behind a painting that I did about a Greek house.
Okay.
I had never been to Greece before. So anyway, this is a little bit of a film here. So basically, this is just a little intro here, shot underground in New York. Just giving a little taste
Broadway.
of the NYC thing. You can see all of this Wet Paint NYC. Wet Paint NYC on YouTube.
Smelled a lot of horrible things on the F train.
Yeah, and then here's me in the studio. This is actually my Bushwick studio that I'm giving out. You know, this particular studio was on Forbes.com, which is kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So that was
remember that.
That was fun.
I gotta find out why. What
so
the hell
here's
is
me
this
chatting away, telling about how I've never been to Greece before, but I was commissioned to do a painting. And these photos are some of the inspiration of the houses, and that you'll see in just a moment. So they have this sort of very cubist, whitewashed with the blue doors look.
That's actual.
Yeah. So this
dwelling.
is Santorini. So these are So basically, Santorini is right on the water, and it's up on cliffs just like this.
Ah, it's beautiful.
And you
Look
just
at that,
walk
man.
from basically from town to town looking for good, all the good food and the wine
Who's that
and the
guy?
olives.
Friend of yours?
Yeah, it's a friend of all of ours.
Yeah, very good.
So here's the
inspiration.
So you saw some of the inspiration, and then here's a start. And obviously this is I paint really quickly, as you can tell. So this is sped
Just
up a little
speed it up 10
nutshell.
times, you know.
Yeah. So see, this is all part of one big commission. All these paintings back here were done for one collector, and you're sort of seeing them in different stages of their creation, right?
Look at you go, man. See, I'm crazy.
Going.
I know, in the interest of time, you're speeding it up, obviously,
Absolutely.
but I could actually watch you do this and just like hang out.
Yeah, and you might have noticed down there, you'll see things sort of come and go. I'll sort of paint over them, paint them in, paint over them.
Oh yeah, because there's still more.
Yeah, it's still forming, and
Is it ever really finished?
Well, see, that's the thing, and there's I forget who the quote is, but it's no painting's ever really finished; it's only abandoned, and that's essentially, because I could keep going forever. Eventually, you got to sort of sign your signature and put it.
I liked at the end. I saw you put the gold leaf on the moon.
Yep,
The sun.
that's
Is that
it.
the sun?
Yeah, the sun, moon, whatever you want to, and the doors and the windows and the doorknobs.
You're such an artist. You're like whatever you want it to
Yeah,
be.
I mean, hey, what state are you in? Because you can see the moon during the daytime too. So who's to say? What the heck?
Hey,
come on.
Hey, man, whatever you see is what you see,
what
man.
What you see is what you see. And there's me on the rooftop. We've got a little Empire State Building in the background.
Oh, look at you, man.
And then this is a teaser for the next one. Nice big.
Wow, what was that?
So that was one of my American Maiko with fans, and actually the creation of that piece was on BBC a few years ago. My very first studio in New York. They showed me doing that on BBC. Yeah.
What? Do you have any more videos?
Yeah.
We gotta get. This is incredible, man.
And actually,
From the
that?
commissioned Khalifa High Desert series.
Oh, we weren't supposed to go there. Yeah, that's that guy you didn't like.
Yeah, but I love him. I didn't say I didn't like him.
I'm kidding, he's great.
I didn't say he was bad. I'm just saying that's what they do. See, what happens is if you just stereotype it, Mike
That's
Ricker.
true. We'll throw it out there.
My friend Mike Ricker says stereotypes save time.
That's true.
So that's
See,
why
everybody knows right where we're going.
I just go right to it.
Let me see.
Oh, look at this. Technoblaze says, what is great about 3PLT is that it is real. Nothing is forced. You can tell you are having a good time and letting things go organically. Thank you. Thank you so much, Technoblaze. Namaste, as we say in the art world.
Namaste. And actually, yeah, and we were talking about the pool side in black and white. Oh, we're not on the screen.
Techno says the first thing any artist has to learn is when to stop. Paul is correct that no painting is ever finished.
Should we pull that one up?
Please do. Yes. Thank you. See,
there we
they
go.
know what they're doing.
Look at these.
I got some coffee in my hand. I'm loving life.
So we were talking about the poolside series, black and white. Here's one that was commissioned by a good friend, actually out in Albuquerque. So you're seeing this process, oil paint, and behind is an oil painting with the gold and silver.
Can you pause that?
Yeah.
I want to talk about that for a second. Just pause it, and then yeah, it's you're talking about what's behind right here. We're talking about
so this is
right
sort of
here.
a geisha inspired piece, and it's done in oil paint, silver leaf, 14 karat gold, and copper leaf. And so
That's incredible,
yeah,
man.
and this is another series that was inspired. Basically, it was inspired by how a lot of times Westerners will take a beautiful cultural thing and sort of bastardize it and turn it into like every geisha is like a prostitute, whatever, and like so that's what this, because like a true geisha.
What do you mean geishas are not prostitutes?
You know, there was a lot more to it than that for sure.
Okay,
and
well,
the thing that you would never see, this is why it's called American Michaels, you would never see a geisha with
her
the
breast,
little partially exposed and all that. So it's the bastardization. And if you notice, one side's dark, and that's that side, and one side's light, and that's the more traditional side. It's a little bigger. So
do you ever
look at the light? Look at the sunlight coming through and changing, and yeah.
Do you ever do you ever like admire your own work? Like sometimes look at it and go, wow.
Yeah, I mean, gotta say, like,
joke.
especially I'll put it away, and it's, you know, it crushed me working on it for months or something, and then, oh, look, I'm putting a little gold leaf on the edge there. You know,
that's
it's
right.
for the collector.
Owner says it's so much gold.
Yeah. It's all about the quality. There's a signature. That means it's done. Put the stamp. Boom.
My man. Look at you, and the gold is on the side.
Yeah, because that way you don't have to. Framing can be expensive, but if you buy a piece from me, you don't necessarily have to frame it. You can if you want, but it'll look gorgeous without it. And I paint on the deeper. I paint on the thicker canvases too for that. Same
Keep going. Keep doing some more stuff.
That's not me.
So now that photo of the geisha, the American geisha.
Yeah.
The BBC had it on.
Yeah, it was actually a video of me painting. Let me see if we can pull that up.
Yeah, why? How does that work? Yeah.
Well, basically, similar to the question that was asked at the beginning, am I trying to cut out the gallery experience? Well, the BBC got word that I was, this is a MoMA, got word that I was trying to do things to not necessarily get around the gallery thing, but just to add to it, or to add to my experience with that. And so they said, hey, they came out and said, hey, how do you do it? What are you doing? Oh, you know what? Here's a little bit of that rust thing we were talking about.
By the way, yeah, I want to see the rust thing. Owner said, I want to know, do you put your signature on your pieces?
Every single one of them, yeah.
I thought I saw at the end in the upper
exactly.
left. Yeah, exactly.
So some of them are. It just depends on whether it would detract or not. Maybe we pull this.
Whether you detract from the painting.
Whether
or
we
not?
detract, yeah. So I don't necessarily. I always sign them, but some of them I sign on the back, some I sign on the sides. The oil paintings I usually sign on the front.
That is that's an artist's brain. That's like, okay, I never thought about that. The idea that you work so hard on this thing and then you feel like it would, I don't want to say taint, but it doesn't fit.
If it detracts from the image itself. Now, in some times it actually enhances it, where you get that awesome signature right there on the front. But on the rust pieces, especially, where there's not really paint on it, it would just literally pull the rust off. So why are we gonna?
I love the way his brain works. Everything is all about the art.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking about art
and life.
Hi. Kat just walked in. Hi, Kat. You have an amazing artist here. He's almost as good as me.
I'm working on it. I'll get there one day.
We're gonna do a stick figure battle later on.
Can we pull up this screen here?
Yes, Rory, please, sir. Namaste. Please.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I'm gonna show a little.
You gonna leave? Namaste.
Namaste.
See what I'm
Namaste
saying?
for a bit. Namaste for a bit.
Three people like.
So here we go. Here's a little rusty American flag. I mean, you can put your own meaning into this, whatever you want to do. Times are a little troubling. Oh, here's me chatting again, showing off some works in progress in the studio. There's that big lady back there. The seaside we got going on right there. Got a little Boozer wonky eye going, but that's you know, we enjoy it. So you got the blank canvas.
Yeah,
that's where it
what
all
I'm
starts.
talking
It always
about.
starts. Now I cut out all the stars on other canvas
Oh wow. Man.
and strips, and you know, glued them down to start. So I've got this. I already have this sort of 3D effect.
Glue the strips down.
Yeah, and so this is the Rust sort of in action, like happening. You know, so this is various stages. These are just photos, and there's the final. So it started as just iron paint. That didn't show quite as much.
And then what happens? You just let it.
Yeah, so
oxidize?
yeah, basically it starts creating a super toxic process, and basically I've learned over time how much, you know, how long to leave it on, you know, whether to put like the fan on it to dry it more quickly so that it gets like a brown color, or
and
if I
it
leave
just
it longer, it turns red. If it's really damp outside, if the environment's damp, it's going to create a certain look.
Yeah.
So I have to deal with all this. So this sort of shows you layers that I build up. So this is, you know, the underpainting, and now I'm adding the gold leaf here.
You love that gold. Look at that, man.
Well, you know, in person,
How
it's
does
hard
your
to
brain
see.
function?
It's hard to really appreciate the gold leaf and stuff and the rust until you see it in person.
Let me ask you something. So you get the gold leaf out, right? Mm-hmm. Do you go into a zone?
Yeah.
Do you just disappear from the earth?
Yeah, hopefully. If I'm really rocking and rolling, I'm in the zone.
You're in the
flowing.
zone, like you're
That's
gone.
it. I'm trying.
You're in your own world.
I'm
you
living.
know?
I'm creating.
Yeah, look at this. Do you put rust? That's how you get tetanus.
That's right. That's right. It's a highly toxic process. I have the gloves on. I have the mask on. You know, the
Owner knows
respirator.
how to get tetanus from rust.
Look, and there's actually a rusty bull painting in the background in some of those shots.
Look at this thing, man.
And see, there's that little artist again with the red hat, but he's being carried away. He's being carried away.
So that's-
he's being
that's
carried
your
away with his own creation.
He's being, and that's you.
or
that's,
by life, or some. There's a little rusty bull in the background.
He's being carried away by whatever you feel like
Exactly.
he's getting carried away
Whatever.
by.
So
You know?
yeah. So it works.
That guy is becoming your staple.
You know, he's one of a cast of characters essentially. I've got the bulls as well, and the poolside ladies, and the hookah, and I have the New York subway tokens, which you know became a thing.
You know what's interesting? Just go back to that completed for a second.
Yeah.
So, I want to say, when the finished product, here's what I want to say. You paint the entire canvas black, and yet you see so little of it, but you need that authentic background?
Right.
Is that it?
So that it peeks through, exactly. Yep. It's all about, and in fact, in some of the other pieces we looked at, if we had gone in more closely, you would see that I painted the background and covered it up even more completely than this, to where only the tiniest hint of green would show through, but that little bit creates an authenticity that you
As opposed
wouldn't
to
have
just
otherwise.
trying to fill in the little...
Oh, it wouldn't look right. It wouldn't create the same effect.
That gave you the chills.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
no.
yeah. No, I mean, you
can't
can do that. It would look different.
I mean, that's my style.
It would
It's
look
called,
different.
It's called Bensonhurstism. It's Bensonhurstian.
Is it?
Bensonhurstian. I have a Bensonhurstian
He's
style.
Hurstian. He's Hurstian.
Let me
in
read some of
style.
these. So Technoblaze wants to know, other than VR galleries, what can be done in the world of art for those of us that live in the middle of nowhere that cannot get to big art shows and have no way into the loop of today's art culture? Thank you. Good question.
Yeah,
Thank
that is
you.
a good question. And you know, to tell you the truth, there's layers of things. You know, I mean, I'm doing my thing here, but I'm not selling in the blue chip gallery. You know, I've been doing it for a long time. I'm happy, relatively
You could-
successful. Yeah, exactly. But it's a whole different
That's what I was gonna say.
different world.
What is the blue chip gallery?
Exactly. So we're talking about the people that are, you know, selling stuff for, you know, 50 million, 60 million, 70 million, 100 million bucks. It's not necessarily the folks that I'm
There are
trying to touch.
living people that sell paintings that they did now for
Well, okay,
50
actually,
million.
well, these people, we can't get this here, I don't think. We could do a walkthrough of my virtual gallery if we want something. Maybe we can show it on here.
Maybe
but,
well, you got to get flash, right?
yeah.
Let's try it.
But
Yeah.
you know, so I'm doing things. I'm showing my stuff through Instagram, because once again, I wasn't always in New York. I mean, I had to come to New York to do this thing. I was out in the desert doing my thing.
Yeah,
out in East Tennessee in the mountains of Appalachia. You know what I mean? So, but these days, thankfully, you have yourself a good website that really photograph your art really well. That's huge. Number one. because then you can share with anybody. You got to have something that somehow represents your work correctly. And oh, here we go.
Hold on, before you go.
Yeah,
let's keep on that train of thought.
Yeah. So you know, but basically create, create.
Yeah.
Share, and basically that's, you know, just keep doing that. Reach out to people that are in those bigger markets and see if they can give you any tips, and maybe they can show you in some of their work.
Who are the guys that sell paint? What's the difference? Like that photo, what you did, owner said that's like worth $300,000 for sure with that coat of gold. That piece that you did. It's expensive, the gold, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll tell you what, I don't cut corners, so there is expense that goes into it. I mean, oil paint expense is expensive.
So it's real gold.
So there is a mixture. So some of them but it says what's what. So like 14 karat gold looks a certain way, and people don't actually like it.
Right.
It's more of a yellow, and it's not quite as shiny as reflective.
Right.
So that is used in some places, like on the goldfish and stuff like that. But there's other stuff called gold leaf, and that's what's on the sides. So it's not the pure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, you know, I would have to charge $300,000.
He said, that's what he said.
But hey, but even the canvas itself was like 60, 70 bucks. I mean, just the canvas, the blank canvas.
Yeah.
So it all adds up.
But who are the guys alive today? Like,
so the big name artists you're talking about? So they're not really selling their own work, because I think, you know, our friend here is talking about, he's self-representing, that kind of thing. But there are big name artists. Richter, I think, is one of the top selling. But a lot of the ones that you hear about now that are selling for big bucks, they're all dead. You know, so you've heard of Basquiat setting records. Recently, Leonardo da Vinci set a record.
well, then I can understand.
And the reason they can do that is
Leonardo
because
da Vinci and the history.
Yeah, and they're no longer producing, so there's a finite amount of work.
Plus,
There's the provenance behind it, all of that. So there are all of these things that add up to being able to charge more and more and more. Now, does it get outlandish at some point? Sure. And so I'm trying to play that middle road where not everybody can afford the huge originals with the gold leaf and all that, but you can go to wetpaintnyc.com and get a reproduction of it that looks very similar for a small fraction of the cost.
From an artist's perspective, is it is any painting, this is a weird question to ask. I don't know, do you ever look at a Da Vinci or a Picasso or a Basquiat and go, okay, he's a great artist, but my friends are...
Sure. I mean that's why I started Wet Paint NYC.
Right, but it doesn't feel like, not like in a competitive way, but why would someone pay, other than the history? You know,
well, that's what it is.
In other words, could you know people like, is Da Vinci and are people like that really just that much better at this? Or is it all perspective? It's not about that. It's the marketing that was behind the work, because his stuff wasn't selling for $100,000 back then. Now, he was renowned, and he was doing, he was doing big things for big people back then. But another example on the other end of that is Van Gogh. But think about Van Gogh. Yeah,
so he was struggling his whole life, didn't sell a painting pretty much his whole entire life until like basically the day he died. And he died penniless and thinking that the whole world hated him and that the whole world thought he sucks. And now you can't buy a Van Gogh. Nobody will sell you a Van Gogh. Nobody will sell one. If it went to market, it would be over $100,000. I mean, over $100 million. And that's just the way it is. Since he died, you know, the famous story, is that the guy who cut his ear off? Yeah.
That's the guy who cut his ear off.
I mean, because, you know, there was so much strife and going through all this BS thinking, oh, the world hates me, I'm terrible. And now, you know, he's highly celebrated.
I could do an art class. I could teach it myself. That's the guy who cut his ear off.
That's it.
All right?
If you want, we can show this virtual thing, too.
Yeah, we're going to do that. My point is that, so it's like he cuts his ear off, he dies, he drives a tragic death, and
but the main thing, that whole time he was painting.
He was painting.
That's what other people forget. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the work.
But my point is that as the longer he's gone and the more stories that get told, the bigger the legend becomes. Sure. And now all of a sudden, it's worth 65 trillion bitcoins.
Yeah. Now there's also the less pure side of it, and that's the marketing side, where a lot of these blue chip big name galleries, what they've done is they've gone to some art school at some point, plucked a couple of folks, and basically turned them into like pop stars, like where they pump a bunch of money behind them and they put big advertising revenue behind that this crazy BS thing that's going on is the hottest thing in the art world today. And it only takes a few billionaires to drop a few, 100 million, and all of a sudden they're in the art history
they
books. But it's not
create
necessarily about talent, necessarily. So it gets tricky. It gets tricky.
It's a
there.
business for them, right? So in other words, they create the storyline, and everybody kind of follows.
Right. And so if you want to play that, if you want to be part of that art world, if you want to be part of that game, but the world is the art world. The world is full of art.
What would an art?
That's what I'm trying to celebrate.
What would an art critic or an art snob, I would call them, like if I say what Paul did with those balloons is just as good as any Michelangelo, any Picasso, what would they say to me?
Well, every critic has their opinion,
You're
and you know what opinions are like. Everybody's got one, just like an asshole.
But what would they say? What would they say?
It depends. It depends on what their slant is. So if they're a critic who celebrates creativity and the joyfulness of art or that kind of thing, they may celebrate it. If they want to see, there are art critics today, well known, that don't want to see anything but like a painting of a naked butt.
Right.
Just a butt. Nothing around, so it all depends.
That's three people like this, the podcast.
Right.
That's what
three people like this art critic.
That's the base audience for the butt paintings. Yeah.
Actually, it was really well-renowned folks. Anyway, but
of course.
So that's but then again, that's why it's like there's a little something for everybody on my site. That's why it's not just my work, because I know that some people want the heavy lines, the abstract. Some people want photorealism. Some people want some trippy, surreal thing that looks like the artist was on acid for 5 days straight, which I'm sure they were. Right. But here, you get a piece of it. You can put that on your wall now.
Here's my point, Paul. Because like I said, watching you do that, and you pick any artist from history, and I'm going to go, equal. It's equal to me, but you have and especially in America, anywhere really in the world, but people try to justify and quantify and qualify work to say, well, yeah, Paul's pretty good, but he's no guy from the 16th century name.
Right.
Just pluck
Don't want to be.
in,
But I took a little bit from him and I put it into my work.
But my point is to you, if I was there when the Mona Lisa was being done, it would have twisted my brain into a beautiful place the same exact way that did. What's the difference? How does
I'm just carrying on the artist tradition. That's it.
You understand what I'm saying?
Just carrying on the tradition.
But who decides that a Mona Lisa is a Mona Lisa, and why? You understand
Well,
what I'm saying?
in that case, it's sort of an art historical thing.
Yeah.
But if you think about more, I think more to the idea that you're getting is like that painting that's found in somebody's grandma's attic.
Yeah.
And it's an unknown artist. Well, who's to say whether that is good or not? It
Right.
may have been ridiculously amazing, but it's an unknown. Who is this guy?
Yeah, it's Bob.
But it could be Bob.
Bob the
it says
janitor.
Bob on the back.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Bob, 67. But so without getting into the story, maybe that was Bob Ross. I don't
67.
know. But the thing is that it's a matter of opinion.
It's subjective.
So you may love it. It may be one of those velvet clown paintings from back in the day.
Yeah.
And you may love it. TJ may be thrilled with this.
You know what it is? I talked about this yesterday. We went to go see Billy Joel's original band the other night. And these are the guys that did 52nd Street with him. And then they're in their 70s. Guys are 70 years old. And I sit there in awe of any really good musician.
Me too. That's something I can't do, and that's something that touches me in a way that almost nothing else can do, so music is huge.
Same way with art. Because it's such a beautifully human thing that separates us from animals.
Right.
I look at it in awe, and I go, this is an amazing thing. So now I'm watching Liberty DeVito play the drums, 70 years old. I don't even understand
so pure
how he's getting that sound.
Yes.
And then you could watch a drummer from any other group and band, and it's the same thing for me. So then there's that level of critic or that world that exists where people start to compare.
Sure.
Compare and contrast. And that is always funny to me. It
is. It can be quite amusing.
You can't tell me that what I saw you do with those balloons wasn't like one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
I'll take that.
And then to say, well, it's not a Rembrandt, okay.
Right.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good for you. You know.
It's a little,
Anyway,
it's
that's
a
what I was
little more
trying to get
brightly
at.
colored than the Rembrandt. Maybe you don't want a dark, painting hanging on a wall
I don't
like
even know what a
his.
Rembrandt is.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's
It's a dark painting of people in funny clothes.
Isn't
That's
it a
what that
brand of
is.
cigarettes? The
Yeah, they
Rembrandt?
got that too.
Hey, you got a Rembrandt on you? That's a joke.
Got a
that
pack
I'll
of
do from time
Rembrandts.
to time. Rory, is it possible to get this
Yeah,
laptop
why don't we
back
take
up?
a little spin through my virtual, it's not the full VR experience, but it's, if you go to my personal website, paulcepeda.com.
PaulCepeda.com.
Yeah, you can click into this 3D virtual gallery. It's kind of like going into like a video game. You can you can use your mouse or your keypad to sort of wander around through there and see the paintings to scale.
Technoblaze, you asked about this before, like a VR.
Yeah, so this isn't fully VR. I would love to get into that.
It's not fully
But
VR,
this is
but
like
this
the
is
step in
kinda
the right direction.
where we're heading. What's available now?
Yeah.
I think VR is on the way.
Yeah, and hey, as soon as I meet the right folks, and that's all it is. It's about, it's just about that.
You know what it's about? I'm going to put him on the spot, but it's about a guy named Rory who's sitting in the other room who can make a VR gallery happen like before breakfast.
All about teaming up.
Maybe it'll take him a little bit longer, but he's that good.
So why don't we just take a stroll through this gallery? So these are some oil paintings.
Wow, look at this.
Here are some paintings that we looked at some of the creative process behind some of these. You see they have the red dot because they're all sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those were all part of a commission.
You making money? You making money with this? Paying the bills?
It's ups and downs. That's the crazy. I mean, I've definitely had some really phenomenal sales, and it's just all about trying to. Oh, look what we have here. Here's another one of these artists in the studio. Let's go take a stroll over here.
I wish I was your agent when the guy from the Middle East called. The Prince of whatever.
You know, I did great with that. That was all right. I was thrilled to not. Oh, look at this. Look what we have over here. Sold.
I would have been such a typical. I would have got so Brooklyn on him. I would have been like, yeah, who's this, Muhammad?
Well, I also want to keep the sale too. You know what I mean?
Yo, what is this, Muhammad? Yeah, listen, Sadiq, Muhammad, it's all the same thing. Listen to me. You people make $8 billion by breakfast. How much oil did my people buy from your oil? Let's not beat around the bush. This is Paul Zebeda we're talking about. Don't Paul Zebeda? He was it. Listen to me. Hey. Slow down. Akib. Yeah, all right, whatever. Everybody, Akib, Muzel, whatever your name is, listen to me. I'm going to give you the wiring instructions. I want to get $400 million into the account by 12, or I'm selling it.
This is my new agent,
Right.
folks.
Or else, listen, I'm going to put you on a conference call. Hold on. You hear this? You know who that is? That's Mustafa from whatever country's to the left of you. He's looking for same painting, 200 million. All right? I'm giving it to you for 195. I gotta go. I got a croquet game at 9. Look at this, man.
So, you get to see to scale, because, these are all different sizes, and you wouldn't necessarily know what size anything is when you just look at a picture of it, even though it tells.
Well, that's the thing. Can you click on the pictures?
Yeah,
Don't jump out of the window, Paul.
I don't know.
Please.
Yeah, we can click on the pictures.
On it. Yeah, we could click on the picture.
Yeah, you can click on it.
I mean, what do you want me to click? Where do you want to click? Oh, wow, this is great, man.
Usually when you get up a little closer, it'll give you some details. Oh, here we go. I forgot about it. You gotta click on it.
And this is all.
So here we go. Look at that. 20 by 16, oil, paint, gold, silver, leaf. 1,500. 1,500.
I was gonna say 1,500. Paul, we gotta.
Come on. That's not bad. Look.
Fellas, this is on sale for 1,500. Act now before 12 o'clock. After 12, it goes up to 20 grand.
In fact, little discount with the 3PLT promo code. Just saying.
Namaste.
3PLT at checkout.
Owner says, Paul, I like how the. Oh wow, I like how the film your process of the. Oh, look at this. You believe people admire the process or the final result more? Oh, I like the film of your process painting. So in other words, the YouTube filming.
Yeah, I think that helps people understand a little bit of what goes into it. It's not just it's not just sitting down one day and sort of doodling out. It's building layers and layers and coming back and saying, okay, you know what? I spent a day painting this, but it's just not hitting right. Start over, scratch this whole thing out, whatever it may be.
Do you ever watch a film back that you painted and go, oh no, I should have done something else?
Not so much, because that'll be the next. I just do that on the next painting.
Oh, good. So you worked that out,
yeah.
right?
I mean, during the process, it's like, oh, what have I done? I've done all of this. I messed this up, or I did this, but you just gotta.
How about
roll with it.
that old New York City token? Remember those?
Yeah, that was just before my time here. But
Yeah.
I did one, and it really popped. And I was working on it at a gallery down in Soho, and somebody came in. And I wasn't even halfway done, and somebody was like, "That's mine." I was like, "Okay, well, I got to have another one for the show." So I sold them that. I whipped up another one. That one sold. Whipped up another one. Got in the New York Times like 4 weeks in a row. They put it in the Metropolitan section in color on the back page.
Paulie, did you bump the price on these? You got a
little bit. Hey, every year it goes up, and that's great. So if you buy in now, you get a great price, and then next year it's worth a little more, and then next year it's worth a little more.
Paulie, these guys got to pay, Paulie. And there's a hidden signature in there. If you can find it,
right.
You got to send us another check for 20 grand.
That's right. Once you find it. So this one was done. So this was a very New York piece because.
Wow, look at that. That's really cool.
Because this one.
That's really nice.
You know, this one was done in the Pollock style, which, you know, he did that abstract expressionism painting where he flung all that stuff around. All right, well, Pollock was a New York artist. This is the New York subway token coin. And, so for people who don't know, now we use Metro cards to ride the subway. but people used to carry around these little metal coins that you would have to drop into the subway thing to get on, to ride the subway.
Yeah, and these were them.
And this was them, and they had like the Y was cut out in the center, you could see through it. Some had little stars that were cut out, that kind of thing. So anyway, so with this one, I got a similar enamel paint to what Jackson Pollock used to create it, to keep it very authentic and to get these real thin lines that can only really be done with
I remember the subway went up to 75 cents or 50 cents. Everybody was going crazy.
Yeah, well, now what are we up to? 5, 10 bucks?
Is that what it is?
10 bucks a ride.
Wow, look at that, man.
So this one, you know, similar with the Jackson Pollock style.
What do you think about the Jackson Pollock style? You like it?
Look, everything has its place. So this is no Jackson Pollock here, but when you get in front of a big, you know, the thing about Jackson Pollock is for most of them, they're huge. And the thing is, you have to experience them in person, and you walk up to it, and you can just lose yourself in this weaving mass of paint. You can't really get that from a photograph of a Jackson Pollock. What you have to realize is there's layers and layers, so when you're in front of it, it's like you're looking through a web of something into your own soul. And so that's what that is.
That's the last place I want to look.
Right, exactly. So it can be a scary thing to look at art. And then this is patina, so that's like rust, but it's
that's right.
But it's rust on copper paint instead of iron paint.
So there's more to a Pollock painting than just a guy flinging paint around.
Well, that is how it was created.
Yeah.
But you have to know how to. You have to fling it in a certain way to where it's not just a puddle. Yeah. So there is technique to it as well. And I mean, some of the first ones, I'm sure they look like just a big puddle. And then he's like, oh, wait a minute. If I use this back of this brush or whatever, I can get a thin line. I can control this. So it's all, you know, what you're seeing in most people's paintings is an experiment. You know, it's an experiment that happened.
Essentially, right. Because you don't know the outcome until it's done.
Right, and you know, and even if you think you do, you could easily have spilled something on it, and all of a sudden it's not, you know.
Who are your favorite guys today? The people that
you know, I love the artists that are on my site.
Let's see a couple more of those.
But you know, a lot of my actual inspiration. A lot of my actual sort of painting inspirations are you know, some of the folks that have come and gone at this point.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, you know, like the Picassos, the Matisses, the Modiglianis, the folks that
the 3PLTs.
Yeah, the 3PLTs of the world. But yeah, but I'm loving what. That's because I mistyped that.
Man, that's what we should. Next time you're gonna come in and we're gonna play Donkey Kong, like somebody suggested that they played Rory and Donkey Kong.
Do you have the stream playing on that computer anywhere on your phone?
Yeah.
Can you just turn down your volume a little bit?
There's no volume on it.
I'm hearing like a double audio.
Oh, I shut it. Let me just shut it all together.
It's not, like, tabbed out on the computer or something like that.
Oh, maybe it's tabbed out on the computer. Oh, here. Close this window. Sorry, Rory.
Technical difficulties.
Namaste. That's how we say it. Namaste. I've been saying
so look at these other artists.
lately.
So look, this is a extraordinary artist from Mexico, actually. And see, here's another take on the geisha kind of thing.
Look at that, man.
So these are high. You can't tell in person, but these are high gloss acrylic paintings. So they're super shiny. Really, the colors really pop. She's a real big deal, especially in Mexico. So this is an artist from.
What's her name?
Carla de Laura. Carla de Laura.
Carla de Laura.
Yeah, L-A-R-A. And this is I mean, she works with like Bentley and all this other, you know, big stuff, big stuff. Then this is an artist, Brad Huck, really awesome guy from, he lives and paints in Maui. So he's like, every day he's out like paddle boarding and kayaking next to the whales and sea turtles. And that's how he starts his day, and then he comes back and paints. Yeah, and so you get these sort of like water influences.
That's like me, except the people digging through my garbage for bottles. Exactly. And then I start my painting.
Exactly.
I wait for them to rip my garbage apart.
And then you know it's time to start the day.
Plastic bottles. And then listen to the lady scream at them from next door. And the crazy kid next door is biting his brother's face. Once that screaming starts, I'm ready to get my painting underway.
Absolutely. That's we'll get to that. So this is your guy. This is another great guy. This is actually the brother of Mike Serafino. We were looking at Mike's burn paintings. This guy is the guy. So James Serafino, all he wanted to do his whole life was write and illustrate a children's book. So talk about like going for the goal. So he did nothing except work toward that goal. I mean, he did a lot of things in between, but his focus, his entire life was to do that.
He was obsessed with that.
He was obsessed. And look at these ridiculously intricate, there's so much going on in these paintings. Like, let me zoom in on one of these, where it's an entire story. So this one's called Global Warming, where you've got the furnace of the world happening with the dinosaurs and a whole laboratory going on, and little cars and like a ticker tape machine and like the volcano. I mean, and this is just one.
A picture
little science guy in there doing the whole thing. Yeah, so it's a whole story in one picture.
And it's compelling for children.
Exactly. And so the great thing about this is that he went for it, he worked for it, and finally, probably when he was just about to give up, he landed a book deal with the biggest name out there.
Really?
Penguin Random House. It's coming out soon, I believe. He's wrote and illustrated the entire thing, and it's the real deal.
What's the name of it? Is it Cup of Cake?
Cup of Cake is the name of the, I don't know, it's all under wraps and stuff. I don't know the exact name of the title, but James Serafino's the guy.
Congratulations,
look at this Dinosaur with the teacup, like this whole thing's a slice of cake. It's like a cake, but it's a slice of cake that's a slice of the earth.
Right.
Got this little, I don't know what that is, little golem thing going on down there. Little mermaids. I mean, look, the details of these things are amazing.
Oh, wow, look at that. And that's like a little...
Yeah, so that's a story in and of itself,
I could get lost in this.
Yeah, that's the beauty of his work.
That's incredible because the layers of the earth since the dinosaurs were here.
Right, exactly. And so he does a lot of sort of visual puns and plays on those sorts of things.
And you can go to Wet Paint NYC and get any of these.
Any of these, yep. A lot of these you can get the originals. Some of the originals have been sold, but you can still get a reproduction, and you can get it, the exact size that you want for your wall, that kind of thing. Look at this.
Oh wow. Look at the detail of this. This is insane.
Very cool.
Where do you think he starts? Right from the bottom? I don't know how. What do you do?
It all starts with one line, and then, that's a whole different story.
You knew me in
Those are the college days,
yeah,
right.
Actually, I didn't like it. Actually, I liked it so much I couldn't do it. I was like, I can never do this again. What is that? That looks interesting.
Yeah.
That's not a photograph.
No, this is the artist painted herself. This is Connie Rose, British born. But yeah, so this is she painted herself, and it's a trippy, it's like looking into the artist, looking to the artist's mind, looking to the artist physically, looking to the artist's work.
Is that a painting?
That's a painting that she painted of herself.
Can we zoom in on that? Yeah. What do you think about that, Paul?
I think she's talented. I think she has a specific vision too. She was able to mix this, the sort of the photorealistic with the trippy abstract. Well, that a lot of that is practice and the technique and talent. Oh, we're not. I don't think we're actually showing this on the.
Oh, okay, we're not showing it. Rory, can we get this up on the screen? The laptop.
You'll see what we're talking about. You'll see why we're obsessing here.
Yeah, I mean this is really, really incredible. And look at the way her hair falls.
Mm-hmm. And she had her hair dyed with the pink tips, and she captured every little.
And she got the pink tips.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not coming up, if you go to Wet Paint and go to
wetpaintnyc.com, Connie Rose has some amazing. She mixes, like I said, photorealistic with sort of mind-bending.
How do you get that? How do you get that skin tone? How does that happen?
Practice.
Sorry to bug you on your stream.
Not at all.
Rules don't compensate for a sophisticated art palette we can't show.
Ah.
Oh, but there's things. That's enough things to show. Even though
Uh-huh.
there's
I
no.
want to take a chance.
Oh, thank you,
I don't wanna
Kat.
get us banned.
Sorry, guys.
Partial nudity.
You know, you
is
can't
why
leave us
we've
alone
been- yeah,
together.
you
We're
can't
gonna get
leave
a
two
naked
guys
girl
in front of
here.
a camera.
I knew it was
What
gonna
are we
happen.
gonna do?
All right.
All right.
Thank you for being smarter than all of us. I appreciate that. So
Well, good to know.
Well, you got to go to what's her name?
Yeah, Connie Rose at wetpaintnyc.com.
Okay, Connie Rose. We took it off, Kat. If we can get it back now. Thank you. And now here's a photo of my foot. So if you go to Connie Rose on Wet Paint NYC later, after we do this,
You know what? I'll go back to her work, and they're not all like that. I've got.
we just
some other
can't
stuff.
show the body parts.
No body.
Very strict.
No pink hair tips.
No pink hair tips. But the Connie's, I don't know how that.
Well, that's that's
How
technique.
the human brain, scroll down, click on
Get off!
something.
Get off! Get off!
Yeah.
There we
How the
go.
human brain makes that happen is.
So this is the same artist. So she did that. She did that incredibly realistic piece that we couldn't show. Too hot for television. But she also does this really colorful sort of landscape. This is, she was inspired by New York City, and so she threw this this colorful landscape together. And
I don't even know what to say about this. This is short-circuiting my brain.
right. She can do that.
How do you get your brain? What is this? Is that what the?
That's
Like
brain
when-
leaking out. You know,
Yeah,
that's
like what is
mind
this?
at
See
work.
all this right here?
Yeah.
How do you? Is that just a brush?
Yeah, it's for brushes, possibly ink pens, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's just her going.
Wow.
It's just her going to town.
Come on, man. How much is this?
This one right here.
I'm gonna have to buy all of them.
2,100.
All right, give me 5.
Original.
And then I'm gonna put them all in
That's
my.
the original.
It's called Our Badass City.
That's it.
Ooh-wee.
That's it.
I swear.
Get off there.
I wish I had a. Like if I gave you a piece of paper and a pen, and you just did whatever came to your mind. Would you be comfortable with that?
Sure.
Or is that
it
like
might not be
asking-
super interesting because I build up layers and
Yeah,
then it gets
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
But sure, I could do that. You could tell me anything. I could
I
draw
don't
my
have
version
one.
of it.
I don't have one, but if one appeared,
Right.
like if a paper and a pen appeared, and then we asked you to do it, I don't know why that would happen, or how that
I don't
would
know.
happen.
Look at this guy.
Wow, look
So
at
this
this.
guy, Joseph Malloy, an actual true New York native. There are a lot of folks that aren't New York natives, and you can find his murals. So he's done a ton of street art stuff too. You can see his murals
Yeah.
all over Manhattan, all over Lower East Side.
He's one of me. I'm one of the leftovers. We're called the leftovers. The New York
Few and
natives.
far between, but you know all the good spots.
Well, I was
you
here
know?
before the bike lanes. I don't. How long does
So
that
this,
take?
he calls this his style vandal expressionism. So he just puts
So he
colors,
just-
lines, and marks and stuff. He's very instinctual. He just goes with his gut.
Vandal.
Expressionism. So kind of like we're talking about abstract expressionism, like Jackson Pollock, where he's throwing down all these lines and stuff.
He's doing
but he's
his
doing
crazy
vandal
lines.
expressionism. Because a lot of it was being done with spray paint and stuff out on the streets
Yeah.
initially.
The colors.
But he's in canvases. He's in galleries and all that other good
Do you
stuff.
ever do you ever see graffiti? Do you ever look at graffiti on the street and go and get blown away by it?
Yes.
You do?
yes. And before I came to New York, not so much because the graffiti and tagging and stuff back where other places I've lived, it wasn't developed enough. I was like, you ruined this gorgeous architecture with this. But some of the stuff I see out here is so phenomenal that I'm like, the city's a better place for that art that's being shared by
I miss
that's being
some of
shared
that.
by
I do.
everybody. It's
I miss-
public.
I miss some of that because some of the work on the trains and then the billboards, that's kind of like what made New York, New York. The problem
Right.
is that you had, for every one genius of a guy, you had 87,000 people putting their fake name up.
Right. Exactly.
Like Boots.
I don't know all the details,
Good,
but I
it's
can
my
tell
buddy,
you
it's my
that
buddy.
some are better than
It's
others.
my good friend Boots. Actually, there's a I don't know if it still exists, but my friend of mine, Phil, MC Charm, DJ Charm now. They have an artist. I don't know if it's in Greenpoint, but there's a building it's covered in graffiti. It's like a graffiti artist.
Are you talking about 5 Points?
Yes.
So it's gone. It actually got torn down.
I heard. That's
and
what I
they
wanted to ask.
just they're getting a little bit of compensation for that. But it was like a mecca where people would come from all over the place to see this.
That
and
sucks.
it was very and it's sort of It just it was you know, sort of
Maybe we could bring up 5
disappeared
points.
overnight.
Maybe we could bring up 5 points. Hey, can we get a 5-minute pen and ink from Paul as a giveaway today? Paul?
Sure, you got it.
Technoblaze, good idea. A 5-minute pen and ink from Paul as a giveaway. I'm gonna need some help from the booth. Some guys in the booth. You see how I do that? Very professional. We're gonna need, if you have it available, a piece of paper and a pen, and a full. I need a full blank canvas. And wow, look at 5 points.
Yeah,
look at what that used to look like.
That's just the Wikipedia of that. But yeah, look at that.
Damn, man.
Look at that.
Yeah, is Charm up there? Charm was my friend.
Let's see.
It's up there somewhere,
Yeah,
guaranteed.
exactly. There's a lot in there. I'm sure he's in there. Yeah, so I mean, you know, that was kind of an iconic thing, which is why, you know, I think that's why there was such a sort of a public uproar when they sort of just tore that down.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know all
it's
the
such,
details,
and it's
but
so New York. It's such a uniquely New York thing. But you know, eventually you need you need
you need that new Whole Foods.
yeah, that's what happens. You know, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, that's very nice. Knock that down and put condos up.
Right. Right.
You know.
Well, that's the thing. You know, the artists sort of usually are the one that we break the. We break the new real estate in, you know, the places where nobody wants to go,
Well,
and then we make it colorful and pretty, and then all of a sudden it's trendy, and you can.
Yeah. Oh look, yeah, thank you. Would you mind, Paul?
Not at all. We'll chat. I'll draw.
Okay.
Is this pen good?
Yeah, that'll work.
Well, that's incredible. I put you
You
on the
chat.
spot.
I'll draw, and we'll.
I guess we could take this off now.
We'll give
sir.
it away.
You know, thank you, Rory. So Rory brought in a pen and a piece of paper for Paul. No, I think they tore it down, Calamity Jane. Did they tear it down?
I don't know the exact detail. I know that the artwork's gone and stuff. I think that they may have
Good
torn
point.
it down.
Calamity Jane says, by tear down, do you mean paint it over? We don't know.
No, I did not mean it in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. It's funny because, you know, to me, it's such a uniquely New York thing. And by the way, I'm not getting all the chat up here on the screen, so I'm just going to sign on to this. Now, me asking you to do a painting in real time on television live, is that like being at a party and you meet a doctor and you ask him to look at your throat?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's horrible.
No,
right?
no, it's not bad at all. And actually, I've done a lot of live painting stuff, especially for charity. In fact, my first 30 minutes ever in Las Vegas was for, I went out there to do live painting for a charity. It's a New York-based charity called Broadway Bears. And basically, it was a packed house at Planet Hollywood. They were doing like a nude Cirque du Soleil type thing. It was all body paint, that kind of thing. But this crazy thing, all the money was going to this charity. And basically, me and a couple of my buddies were painting in the aisles, and we had 30 minutes to do a painting. Packed house, Planet Hollywood. This is my first 30 minutes ever in Vegas. We had just landed. I'd never even been there before. A few shots. I pop up my easel, blank canvas, go to town on this. Then, 30 minutes later, during the middle of the show, packed house, they take us up onto the stage and auction this stuff off live. And we only had 30 minutes. My paintings take way more than 30 minutes usually.
I know, and I'm asking you to do 5
Well, the
minutes.
cool story is that, so I'm up on the stage, the lights are shining on me, all this is all for charity, so I'm having a grand old time.
Sure.
I'm in Vegas, come on, it's great. And this woman in red keeps popping up, keeps bidding it up. Bidding up the painting, it's a live auction. And finally it sells, I'm like, all right, great. So my buddy leans up to me on stage and said, hey, you know who that is, right? No, that's Tia Carrere from Wayne's World. I don't know if you remember the
Sure do.
swing, you know,
Yeah,
the swing
sure.
inspiring.
She was the swing
Yeah, she
inspiring
put the
girl.
swing in swing. So so she got my painting. The thing went all the proceeds went to the charity, and then I had 14 more days in Vegas.
Did you meet her?
Oh yeah,
afterwards?
she came. Yeah, there are pictures of us on. Yeah.
What was the painting?
It was actually just like an abstract nude woman sitting up on a stage, like with the curtains. There were purple curtains in the background, and I sort of I played off of what I was looking at on.
Oh, that's incredible. What are you doing now?
Right now, I'm doing just a simple vase with flowers. I don't know if we can
Look at
capture
you. You
that.
already did that.
Right.
What is wrong with you? Why does your brain function this way?
You know, I think
That's
our brains are
incredible
constantly
to me.
working to make something, whether it's to come up with the next line or to, you know, figure out what we're gonna eat for dinner,
yeah.
whatever it is. Our brains are always working.
you
so
described two
just
things
put it to
about
work.
me.
Yeah,
To cover
exactly.
my,
I know my audience.
By the way, today's T-shirt is AC/DC.
Brought to you by
Brought to you
AC/DC.
by old guys that like rock and roll. But Paul, Technoblaze wants to know, what are your thoughts on body painting? I thought the show Skin Wars was pretty amazing.
I do think that that's pretty amazing. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, is that, you know, art and painting can take so many forms and so many canvases, whether it's, you know, the spray paint on the walls at 5 Points, or the you know, beautiful canvases. And I've done body painting as well. And like I said, at that Las Vegas show, all of the top performers in Vegas were in full body paint. Kind of think it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how, you know.
Google
That's gotta
my
be
name and
uncomfortable.
Broadway Bears, because I can't show you any of this
Are they?
on. I can't show you any of this on TV right now. But if you go there, there's some interesting photos.
Google your name and what?
Broadway Bears, or my name, Las Vegas. That'll do
And
it.
what do? You paint bodies?
No. So I was painting on a canvas, but these were all the top performers in Vegas, all fully body painted and nude.
And Dunkin' Donuts. That's right, owner. Dunkin' Donuts and AC/DC. You know what's funny? He said body painting. You know what I thought, right? I thought people that paint bodies.
Oh,
Like
auto
actual
body.
Is that what it's
Oh,
called?
no. Oh, you're talking about painting bodies on actual. That is what
No,
we're
I'm
talking
talking about
We're talking
a
about skin,
person
brush
getting-
on skin. That's what we're talking
You
about.
guys
Absolutely.
are talking
yeah,
about that.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So, are they wearing underwear?
If it depends.
How do you navigate that situation?
It depends. Usually, they're wearing underwear just so you have something to paint on.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. I mean, you know, if you're painting on a male, you know, you may just incorporate, you know, an elephant or something. You know, you got a trunk and, you know, you work it in. Whatever the deal is. You got to be creative, TJ. That's what we're
Listen.
talking about here. Creativity.
So, some guys have a trunk, and you know, some guys are baby elephants.
That's right.
Doesn't make you a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's no difference here.
Look,
No
somebody just
judgment.
sent me a photo regarding something we were talking about. Oh yeah, 5 Towns. Oh wow, this is cool. So, this is a text from my wife.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Josephine. I've known this man for 1 billion years. This guy, remember I said Charm? That's Charm on 5 Towns.
Ah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I should get Charm on here. All right, I got to bring it in someday, and it's going to be embarrassing, but it's going to be funny as hell. In the late 80s, I was a rapper, all right? I actually was a rapper. I know it's difficult for me to say those words without feeling the abuse that's going to come my way from my friends, but I was great at it. I won some competitions.
Oh.
We used to go to the Bronx.
Legitimate.
And I won some, did really well, and it was easy. The bar was low, especially amongst, you know, Italian kids in Brooklyn. But I held my own, and there was another kid, Charm, from another neighborhood, and we battled one day, and it was crazy, and we became
really
the best
hits
of
the
friends.
fan.
I beat him, and he said the only reason you beat me is because your friends were here cheering for you.
Oh.
He was right. And so he went. So this is such an '80s story. We probably had mullets, and
I'm assuming as
he
much.
called me into the bathroom to have a one-on-one competition with his friend there, Chris, and his friend was beatboxing, and he went, and then I went. It was a rap battle. Who wins a rap battle? I don't even know what are the parameters. I don't even know what we're doing, but
Were we doing like mama disses, or what was this?
it was like, oh God, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't even want to do it. Like I'm the
Peeling the
ruler.
onion.
I'm a ruler on a rampage, leader of the warriors. I love to be hated and therefore notorious. This is what we're doing. You know, it's 80s style. But he was awesome, and he stayed with it, and he became a DJ, and he became well known in the hip hop community, and he's friends with all of them. You know, and I got to get him on the show because he's a real. You talk about an artist to the core. Like this is his life. He's around my age, still doing it, still producing, still DJing, still MCing, still. He loves it. It's in his soul. He can't help it.
Right.
You know. Wow, you're doing more stuff, Paul.
I thought we'd do a couple of little giveaways here.
Oh, wow, look at Charm. There's another one of Charm on 5 points. My wife keeps sending me photos of Charm on 5 points. You know? Yeah, this is cool. I mean,
classic art. Classic New York.
WetPaintNYC.com, PaulZapata.com, CompassNeedle.org. Yeah, nobody's really called me back from Compass Needle. Compass Needle.
I think, you know,
Since my show.
I wouldn't take that personally.
Since my highly offensive show. Were the girls, some of the Compass Needle girls were there? What did they say, honestly?
I mean, I had my back to the table so that I could be closer to the stage, you know, so I could enjoy it fully. And, but hey, I heard some chuckles. I heard some things.
You were laughing very hard.
Yeah. So it was good times. It was good.
I love what you're doing. He's drawing that, and at the same time, I wanted to say to Rory, for the love of everything, sacred and holy, please, please, can I play this?
Go for it. Go for it.
Let me just put, never has there been a moment that was clearly depicted how much of a dimwit I am than when you showed that brilliant piece of art that you did in 4 seconds and I'm holding up Madden. No, not now. Not now. Rory, you're ready to play.
All right.
Rory came
Thanks,
in,
Rory.
he's ready to play.
We have to hook everything
I
up.
love you more than life.
So it's so funny because Courtney's like, what has he got, Hannah Montana football?
No, Courtney, it's not Hannah Montana football. It's Joe Montana. Joe Montana. John Madden. What is this? The original one? This is one of the originals.
Yeah, probably. What console is it for?
I think it's for Genesis. Yeah, dude. Do you see how brilliant this is? Look at him. Let's get the first one.
Couple of quick sketches, throwing the signature on there.
You got to throw the signature on.
Throw
We got to. We should frame this
PLT.
and be terrific.
What?
Yeah, 3PLT, be terrific. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to pay attention
Quick sketch.
to the shading and the depth. What the artist is trying to say here is, life is precious. You must cradle life within the vase. The flowers represent life.
Preach
The
it.
vase represents the cradle of life, which is femininity, which means Paul likes women. I think that's
In
what
a
he's trying to
nutshell.
say here.
That's what that page said.
This one is a little different. The bird represents life. The sun represents women. The bird only flies when it's given life by the sun, which means that basically Paul likes women.
You're too good at this.
And more art class with TJ Stone coming later on.
Happy
look
little
at you.
trees.
I can't believe you did that in like 3 minutes, my man. Is there
I think it was less than that.
Is there something? Your brain is.
And you didn't even give me any direction to go on.
Let's
just,
chat
you know.
and give me something to draw.
Okay.
You want me to? Should I just use my inspiration?
Your inspiration.
Okay. So, I started working at artistic things at the age of 5, and it was around the time when I would draw into my room. My mom had become very good friends with a priest, and he really seemed to be more interested in me than her. And yeah. Anyway, I'm in therapy, and we're working it out.
So you were in the room trying to draw, trying to be creative, and you kept getting these knocks at the door.
Right. And
So you gotta get rid of distractions when you're trying to create.
whatever artistic creativity came out of me was a direct result of this idea that existentialism is good.
Uh-huh.
I just had to say that. And people are often amazed at how talented I can be and how artistic I could be.
Uh-huh.
And this is what I came up with. Hold on. In 5 minutes, I'm going to sign the top.
Yep.
TJ
Makes it
to
official.
PZ.
Nice.
All right?
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
I'm never really done. There's always layers. But the meaning of this, is, this is Paul. And he's holding a balloon which is in the clouds. And there's no sun here. And Paul's balloon is an existential extension of his soul. And the balloon is describing how his soul is empty because there is no sun. The mean helicopter guy stole the sun. He's representative of the evil government that tries to take the sun away. But the sun isn't the sun. The sun is representative of the feminine form. And that's why Paul's crying, because basically Paul loves women.
That's it. Bottom line.
And now you go. No.
And back to drawing parts.
I love it. I'm getting calls from everybody.
Oh, we're blowing up here.
Thing. People are calling, texting.
Nice.
But yeah, we got phone conversations. People sending me photos of stuff, and all of it.
We really tapped into something here.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes left. We could start wrapping it up. But my man, what can I say about you that you haven't already said more articulately and to the point?
I don't know. What do we want to get in? What's the last couple minutes?
We never touched on your heroin addiction, did we?
No, but that came and went. Everything was fine.
Did you really have one?
No, never addicted.
But next time, make
But I've
believe.
tried everything.
Never addicted.
I tried a little of everything. What can I
Never
say?
really addicted. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to try it once in a while.
Yeah.
I got to say thank you to my man Paul Zepeda for coming down and sharing this time with us. Wet Paint NYC, paulzepeda.com. I got to tell you, man, I learned a little something today. I just went with my instinct. We got to college with you or somewhere in your history, but as soon as your website
to do it again
popped
sometime.
up,
Yep.
I didn't even care. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
cared
perfect.
about it, but that's
that's history. This is now. This is
here's
where we
the
are
problem.
now.
That's dangerous because I could do that for hours, man. I could surf this website.
Well,
with
that's the
you
beauty of it. Something
for
if
hours.
it's I think it's awesome that it's that entertaining to you that you
It
could
is.
feel that you're scared that you could get lost in it.
Yeah,
That's
man.
cool.
Great work.
I like
Thank you
that.
for coming.
Yeah, there's a lot of really talented artists on
Yeah,
there.
and go to Wet Paint NYC. Paul loves women. Bottom line. Well,
Wet Paint NYC 3PLT at checkout. You'll get a discount.
Calamity Jane. I know Paul loves women. It's the bottom line, and it's depicted in his paintings. And
Thanks,
who
Technoblaze.
knew? Thank you, Technoblaze. Thank you, everybody from the Twitch chat room. BeTerrific.com, 3peoplelikethis.com. More importantly, Wet Paint NYC, paulzepeda.com. We're going to have him back on for some more stuff. We're going to do
look
some
forward to
IRL
it.
and get
Yeah.
out there. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to be terrific. See how I sign off like that, like a gentleman, like a professional?
That was good.